20-year-old Victoria Hannafin is suing her former friend, Nicholas Stanworth, for unpaid charges on a Best Buy credit card.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 116 on the calendar in the matter of Hannafin versus Stanworth. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Hannafin, it is your claim that the defendant, who's a friend of yours, owes you for some credit card charges he made. He says he paid you in cash. Do you want to explain to me what he was doing with your credit card?
Well, I met Mr. Stanworth in August of 2009. I had explained to Mr. Stanworth that I wanted to increase my credit score. Mr. Stanworth promised that he could help me do that by spending money on my credit card with my permission and paying me back, and he promised to pay every part of it back. What?
How? Check or cash?
He paid strictly in cash, no checks.
Okay, go ahead. So what did you do?
He paid me back, and I had began to get a little nervous because of the activities that he was involved in, illegal gambling.
What kind of activities, Ms. Hannafin?
Illegal gambling, drugs.
Why would you hang around with somebody who was involved in illegal activities?
I was very vulnerable at the time. I had just left a bad relationship, and he had kind of made me feel like he was my friend, and I didn't know what he was involved in until I began hanging out with him.
So why didn't you stop hanging out with him?
Because he owed me this money, and he had said that, you know, he wouldn't pay me back unless I was around, and he had made threats to me that he would, quote, burn me and bury me, and that he used to get off on killing people, that it, quote, gave him a when he would kill people. And I just felt scared for my life that I would be one of those people.
When did he say this to you?
He said this November 20th. I have a police report here.
When was the last time he made a charge on your credit card?
I believe early November. I'm not, let's see here, November 6th for Smith's Groceries.
And he had his own card?
Yeah, I had made him a user on my account.
What month did he get the card?
He got the card in August.
Did he pay September's bill?
Yes, he did make a payment.
Did he pay October's bill?
Yes, he continued to make bills.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Now, November 6th was his last charge.
Yes.
So what month does he owe on the credit card?
Well, he didn't pay the complete amount back. He would make payments each month.
He says he paid it.
I paid her everything in cash, everything in full. She had a boyfriend that was in prison at the time, and that's why we had like a sugar daddy type relationship where I knew her situation. She needed a little something while her boyfriend was locked up, and while he was locked up, I was there for her. But the closer the date got to her boyfriend being released in December, she just got weird. She got really, really weird, and the more I separated herself from.
What was he doing in jail, Ms. Hannafin?
He had broken his probation.
She released in December?
Yes.
When you and Mr. Stanworth were friends, where were you living?
I was living in Taylorsville, Utah.
She was living with her ex-boyfriend.
No.
She had an ex-boyfriend. She was messing around with me. While she was messing around with me, she moved in with a friend.
No, listen to me. You're not following. You were committed on something. When you were friends,
yes,
who were you living with?
Zoe, a friend, and she lived in Taylorsville, Utah.
Up until when did you live with Zoe?
Up until November, and then I moved into my own apartment.
When you moved into your own apartment after December, who did you live with?
When I moved in originally in November, I had taken the place of a friend, and I lived with Kelly.
You said you were living alone, your own apartment in November. The boyfriend came out of jail in December.
Well, in living alone, I mean, I had a roommate. It was a two-bedroom apartment that I moved into, and I occupied one of the rooms.
Where did the boyfriend go when he got out of prison?
He moved into Zoe's apartment and occupied the room that I used to have.
So you have or have not been living in the same complex as the old boyfriend?
No, I don't. I didn't ever live in the same complex as him. He wasn't my boyfriend. We were just friends. I would go and visit him every Tuesday, but he was just my friend.
Where would you visit him?
At the Davis County Jail.
How am I supposed to tell that Mr. Stanworth owes you money if he paid you in cash and you never gave him receipts?
I don't know. I mean, I've documented every payment that he's given me. He never wanted a receipt, and it was strictly in cash. I've never not made a payment with the cash that he's given me.
May I interject something? Our credit cards were linked. She was also spending money on those credit cards, and I never received an itemized statement of what was being paid. I always knew what I bought. I'm very good with money, and every time I bought something, I paid her in full for it, cash, to pay it right away. I'm not one to wait 30 days. You look on my current credit card statements, all my bills are paid in advance.
Why were you using her credit card, Mr.
She got a credit card in her name. I did promise her I'd help her with her credit. I did promise that.
Why were you using her credit card, Mr. Stanworth?
To help her build her credit. I had the cash. She was a friend. We became close.
Can I see the list of items on the credit card statement, please, Ms. Hannafin?
There's 2 credit cards. There's a Best Buy account and a Bank of America account.
Did you pay the Best Buy account?
I don't know what the Best Buy is about. She was getting ready for her boyfriend to come out of prison. My understanding was a boyfriend.
Appliance?
The appliances were for Mr. Stanworth's home. He had purchased on my credit. What had happened is he said that, oh, this would help my credit score, and I believed him, and I shouldn't have, but I did, and he convinced me to open a credit card account with Best Buy, and we both applied on it. Unfortunately, Mr. Stanworth's credit was not well enough to get credit together, so I did it on my own, and he purchased a washer and dryer, a new refrigerator, and several TVs and direct TV boxes with that.
And where are those items now?
I'm not sure. They were taken to Mr. Stanworth's home. I never had possession of any of those items.
Is that true?
The only thing on that list, it was purchased with washer and dryer, and she was given cash for that.
But it was purchased for you.
It was purchased for the home because she was staying with me also. She forgot to mention that. And I do believe in one of the statements.
Who has the washer and dryer now?
I don't. It's gone.
Where is it?
I moved out of that place. I'm in a new house. It was left there.
Something's wrong with you.
No, nothing's wrong with it.
Oh, something's wrong with you. Unless you sold it to the new people who moved in.
No, I didn't
Why in
sell
the
it to the
world
new
would you
people.
buy something that's 6 months old and just leave it there if you paid for it? I don't believe that, Mr. Stanworth.
It is there until someone moves into the place, and then I will get the items.
What kind of double talk is that?
No, because I have a washer and dryer right now. It's on KSL, which is a site to sell it. Not double talk. I moved
What's
into a
on
place that has a
KSL
washer
for a
and dryer.
site to sell? What is on the internet?
The washer and dryer is on the internet.
So you're selling it?
Yes, I am selling it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My problem is I believe her just slightly more than I believe you. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're a hustler,
Oh, yeah.
but I can't figure her out.
And later today,
Well, your friend Steve
Yeah.
didn't want a drunk
Well, we were all drunk.
fighting. Listen, sometimes you get drunk and you just make a lot of love. Sometimes you get drunk and you make a lot of fighting.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Victoria Hannafin says former friend Nicholas Stanworth owes for unpaid credit card charges. Nicholas claims he paid Victoria back in cash.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Stanworth?
Consulting.
Consulting what?
I work for the Sundance Film Festival once a year. When the movies come up there, I set up events at the Sundance Film Festival for certain companies that come in. I present them marketing ideas if they want certain events such as poker parties.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Stanworth? You're
Consulting.
double talking me.
That's consulting. That's what I do.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
And did you file a tax return this year?
Yes, I did.
How much did you earn?
$85,000.
Doing what?
I consult. These people here in LA pay very good money for setting up events. Indie Film Festival, I set up all their poker parties. I also did a celebrity poker tournament
Where
up
do
there.
you live here in LA?
I don't live here. I live in Salt Lake City.
And what you're telling me is you have clients here who paid you $85,000 to do consulting work for the Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah, but you put a lot of work in. You set up the events. The 2 years before that, I made $250,000.
What you're telling me is that you do that for a one-time event at the Sundance Film Festival.
It's a one-time event, and sometimes I get to go to the...
You know, I have trouble believing these stories that sound very bizarre to me.
Well, that's what I do, and I also, through there, you get other events such as the Super Bowl. You can do Super Bowl parties, Kentucky Derby.
Not can do. I didn't ask you what you can do. I asked you what you do.
And that's what I do, Sundance Film Festival, and I do other things. I set up parties for other people.
Bert, you're following this.
I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. It's work. It's work, and you know what? People pay well to have a good time, and, you know, sometimes you do charity events, sometimes you do other things, but it's work.
Ever gamble?
Yes, I do.
What kind of gambling?
World Series of Poker is going on right now. I'm here missing it. It's in Vegas for a month.
What other kind of gambling?
Pretty much poker. I bet on sports. Did well on the Lakers, beating the Jazz this year. No, did quite well. I was in Vegas for that. Won a lot of money. The Jazz were favored. Lakers are a better team.
That way you'd have a lot of cash.
Yes, I do, and I deal
Now,
in cash.
You have a debit card,
Yes.
which means that you have a bank account.
Yes, I have 4 accounts.
And when you have a bank account, you have checks.
No, I actually do not have checks. Only for my NMP consulting. Only my consulting business.
How old are you?
32.
Why wouldn't a 32-year-old man who earned $250,000 the year before and $85,000 this year have checks and instead keep all of his money in cash and pay his bills in cash?
Just the nature of my business. Gamblers, we keep a lot of money in cash.
Now we're talking.
Yes, we keep a lot of money.
Consulting people don't. Because consulting people are not paid in cash. Consulting people are paid by businesses by check.
I have checks deposited into the business account.
And?
I write checks from the business account for materials for business gigs that I do.
And how are you paid from the business, sir?
I pay myself.
With what?
I write it, well, I transfer money. I transfer money. So.
You see, you almost tripped over your tongue, Mr. Stanworth.
No, I transfer money.
You write a check.
No, I don't write a check. I transfer from one account to the next, and that's considered writing a check online when you transfer banking fees.
So you transfer money into what account, sir?
My personal checking.
Your personal
checking.
Checking.
And savings.
When you have a checking account, you have, what do you have when you have a checking account?
Checks.
Checks.
But I chose not to have checks. I use my check card as my checks.
You know, my problem is I believe her just slightly more than I believe you. I mean, I know you're a hustler.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're a hustler. I know that that's how you make your living. You're a hustler. But I can't figure her out, you know? She's got this passive-aggressive thing that I'm just not getting. I got you, Mr. Stanworth.
Well, you can look at the bank statements. This girl
I got you, but I'm, you know, I really don't get her right away. But I know one thing, a lot of stuff is charged here, and she's not asking for all that money.
No.
Because she says that you paid her a good portion of it.
Yes.
I mean, on one she says you paid her $700, on one you paid $8,000. You paid a lot of money for purchases that you made. She gives you credit for a lot of those things, because all she says you owe her is $1,800. And one of the things that I found troubling, Mr. Stanworth, was that you said, and besides paying her in cash, I gave her a very good deal on a used car.
No, well, I didn't give her the used. I had a used car. She got rid of her Toyota 4Runner.
Did you just say no to me, Mr. Stanworth? You want me to read what you wrote?
No, you're absolutely correct.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I can't believe that. It just sounds ridiculous. If it doesn't smell right, it's not true. Why would you all come together and the one person who witnessed the act of vandalism is not here?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Victoria Hannafin says former friend Nicholas Stanworth owes for unpaid credit card charges. Nicholas claims he paid Victoria back in cash.
Okay, you still have the car?
I still have the car, but the car was never Mr. Stanworth's. He drove it, but it was his brother-in-law, Brady. And I purchased it from Mr. Brady, not Mr. Stanworth.
How much did you pay for it?
I believe somewhere around $8,000, but I didn't purchase it from Mr. Stanworth. I purchased it
I had the car for 3 years.
Brady.
Whose car was it?
My brother-in-law's. I had it for 3 years. He didn't want it.
Because you can't have a car in your own name.
I own 3 cars in my own name.
Really?
Yes, I have a 61 Lincoln Continental I'm restoring right now. I have a Nissan 300ZX and a truck.
And how do you pay for the insurance on those?
Cash.
Mr. Stanworth, you're a hustler. And you owe her $1,800. Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I told the truth. There's nothing for me to hide. And she just got a free $1,800. I'm not happy about it.
I was in a bad spot emotionally, and so he kind of filled that void.
It was a sugar daddy type relationship.
I was all alone out there, so he took advantage of that.
Just deal in cash. No credit cards.
Never trust anyone, and make sure you get a receipt and don't deal in cash.
Rickard is suing fellow partygoer, 26-year-old Jesse McCandless, for kicking his truck in a drunken rage.
Mr. McCandless, why don't you tell me what happened on June 13th?
Okay. Me and my date for the night, we decided to go to a party over at my friend Steve Cohn's house.
My date and I.
My date and I, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Better.
Okay, thank you. We decided to go to a party at my friend's house when we were outside arguing after we'd been drinking for a while.
Who was outside arguing?
Me and my date.
You have short attention span, Mr. McCandless.
What's that?
Keep going.
Okay. And the plaintiff over here, Mr. Willard, he decided to butt in to the argument.
What were you arguing with your date about?
Well, she was crazy. She has some type of bipolar disease. I'm not even sure, but basically...
Was it just a date of yours, or was somebody that you've been dating?
No, just a date. This was our first date. I'd just known her for maybe like 2 weeks. And
So you
this
took
was
her to
the
a
first
party
time
and
we
you were
went to
both
hang out.
drinking?
That's right.
How long had you been drinking before you had the argument outside?
A few hours.
So it would be fair to say that you were in no condition to, say, drive.
No, I wasn't in no condition
And you're
to
not
drive.
a trained psychiatrist or psychologist,
No,
I
no.
assume, sir. So the fact that you believe that your date suffers from a mental illness is speculation on your part.
Okay, yes.
Right. And you were feeling no pain.
Exactly. We're feeling
Right.
pretty good.
So you were arguing with her outside, and the plaintiff came out to intervene.
That's right.
And what happened?
And he basically, he told me... He
Don't
got
look
in my
over there
face.
on the carpet. Look at my
I'm sorry.
eyes.
He got into my face and he had told me that I had to leave. And I had told him that I wasn't going to leave.
Why not?
Well, I was drinking with everyone else. I was at my friend Steve's house and...
Well, your friend Steve
Yeah.
didn't want a drunk
Well, we were all drunk.
fighting. Listen, sometimes you get drunk and you just make a lot of love. And sometimes you
Yeah.
get drunk and you make a lot of fighting and noise, which is, I assume, why you were asked to leave, because you were making a lot of noise.
Right, okay.
Right?
Right, I'm sorry.
Okay, so he told you to leave and you said, I'm not leaving. I'm
That's
drinking.
right.
Go ahead.
Okay, and then that's when Willard decided he was going to push me and I landed into his truck.
You mean this person?
This person
pushed you,
pushed me, and I
Pushed
stumbled
you.
back into his truck,
causing a dent,
causing the dent.
which is what you're suing over. Is that correct, sir?
Correct.
The dent.
Correct.
May I see the dent on the car?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times do you allege, sir, that he kicked the car?
I was in the house at the time.
Who saw him kick the car?
We didn't actually see him, ma'am.
Well, who saw him kick the car?
Nobody that I brought with me.
Oh, well, then how am I capable of trying a case, sir, without evidence? What did you bring these people for? If there was a person who saw him kick the car outside, sit down. If there was a person who saw him kick the car outside and you didn't bring him, why would you bring other...
He admitted to Steve later
Mr.
on.
Rickert, listen to me very carefully, sir. There was a witness that saw him kick the car. Is that correct?
I'm sure there was. I was inside the house at the time.
Well, somebody came in and said that he kicked the car, right?
Right.
Do you know who that was?
No, I do not.
Do you know who it was?
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
Her name's Samantha.
Well, then, that could have been easily transmitted to you, sir. And I don't understand why Samantha didn't come in to court today to testify that she saw him kick the car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Okay, I just have a few questions for you. When did you tell the plaintiff that Samantha witnessed him kicking the car?
I don't believe I told the plaintiff that Samantha...
Why would you travel all the way here and not tell the plaintiff that there was a witness to the incident? I don't believe that. I can't believe that. It just sounds ridiculous. If it doesn't smell right, it's not true. Why would you all come together and the one person who witnessed the act of vandalism is not here?
Your Honor, he's had contact with my insurance agent, and he admitted on the phone to my insurance agent and Steve here.
That, just a second. I'm not hearing that. That's hearsay.
I have letters from my insurance agent.
That's hearsay, sir. Letters are hearsay. I don't understand why you have a witness and you didn't bring that witness. Goodbye. Case is dismissed.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, Mark Davis is suing the mother of his son, Crystal Poindexter, for an unpaid loan to pay her rent. Crystal claims Mark offered to give her the money.
All rise. Ladies. Yeah, it's case number 115 on the calendar, the matter of Davis versus Poindexter.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Davis, you and the defendant have a child together, a grown child. I assume that's you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
He's 25, my daughter's 15.
Now, Mr. Davis says that he loaned you some money. You were at risk of being evicted. You've maintained a cordial relationship over the years. Would that be correct?
No, it wasn't really cordial. I mean, now and then I would see her when I go see my son, and that's it.
When I say cordial, cordial enough for you to know that she was in need of funds.
No, because at the time she was with a man, so I think things
Well,
was
tell me,
taken care
Mr.
of.
Davis, then,
Yes.
how did this loan come about, sir?
Well, she had called me up and she was talking to me about things, and then
Well, if she called you up and she was talking to you, Mr. Davis, then I have to assume that your relationship was cordial.
Well, yeah, okay.
I mean, why do you say no? Just because a woman says something to you, your immediate reaction is no, it's wrong?
No.
True.
Huh?
I said true.
Who's that lady?
It's my sister.
Sister's got the number.
Yeah.
Yeah. You learn early on at school when you play antonyms, homonyms, and synonyms. You say yes, no, black, white, day, night, rain, shine. Just because female says it doesn't mean it's always wrong, Mr. Davis. So you and the defendant had a cordial relationship.
Yes.
Cordial enough for you to speak to each other, and she called you up and told you she was having financial difficulty.
Yes.
Now, see how easy that is? Very easy. When did that happen?
It happened on the 26th of December, 2009.
Did you call her or did she call you?
She called me.
And what did she say when she called you?
When she called me, I didn't know who she was at first because, you know, I haven't heard from her in a while. And she
How
doesn't
long?
have months. It's been some months. It's been some months. And she didn't have my number. My son has my number. So when she called and she said, I'm Crystal. I'm like, Crystal? Who? Crystal. Then it finally hit and she said, you know, your son's mother. So I'm like, oh. So I said, what do you want? And, you know, we were talking, and she came up 3 separate times about she's behind in her rent. So on the 3rd time, I asked her if she wanted to make a loan, and she said yes. So I said, okay, well, how much you want to borrow? She said, well, maybe about like $5,000. I said, well, make it light on yourself where you can pay me back. So she came up $2,000.
Go ahead.
And I went over there, and I got to the house. I saw my son. I gave him my envelope with money. It's all $200.
How much did you give?
$200. I know, my son, I gave him $200. Her daughter, who was not my child, I gave her $50. I guess I was being Mr. Santa Claus.
Did your father give you $200?
Yeah.
He said it was a gift?
Yeah.
Did he give your sister money?
Yes.
Give her $50?
Yes.
Great. Go ahead.
Then I went to the living room and I spoke with Miss Poindexter here. And I told her, I'm giving this money and it's a loan. When am I getting my money back? She told me that I would get the money back when she gets an income tax check. The old line, I fell for it, which was supposed to be in March. And I gave her the money. I sat there for a while
Where did you get the money from?
I had money in a bank, and plus I had an inheritance. My grandparents had passed away, and loaned me a little.
When did you get this inheritance?
I think it was in November, ma'am.
Did your sister get inheritance too?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you get?
It must have been a total of $80,000.
Okay.
So I went to the house, gave her the money. I stayed for a little while longer, and I left. Sometime in March, you know, I called her up to find out when am I getting my money back. She said she didn't have to pay me my money.
Okay. Go.
When I first called him, it was to find out how his mother was doing, because I found out his mother was in the hospital. He wouldn't let my son see his mother at all.
Listen to me very carefully. I want you to tell me what you said to him when you called him.
Could my son see your mother in the hospital? He said no. Then we started talking, and I did tell him that I was...
Just a second. Did he tell you why?
No, he didn't tell me why. My son told me why, that she has cancer.
Okay, so he didn't go over to see you and bring you money and be a nasty man by purposely preventing your son from seeing his mother. If his mother was ill in the hospital with cancer, it's very possible she didn't want to see anybody, or he felt as if he was protecting his son from seeing his mother at that point. Whatever it was. Don't paint him to be a worse person than he is.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you claim that he didn't contribute financially to raising his son for a very long time, which is why you don't owe him this money.
Right.
That's your defense. Now, I want to know the conversation that you had with him when you called him.
Okay, I told him as we was talking that I was in arrears. He asked me, would you like...
You were in arrears of what?
Of getting evicted from my apartment.
Who were you living in your apartment with?
Me, my son, and my daughter.
Nobody else?
No.
No boyfriend?
No. Just us three.
And?
And he said, what is your arrears? I told him what the arrears was. He said, well, I could give you $2,000. That's just what he said, Your Honor.
Go ahead, I can give you $2,000.
I could give you $2,000.
And when did you tell him that you would be able to pay him back?
When he started harassing me by calling me? No. On the phone, I didn't.
With your income tax check?
When he started harassing me over the phones and calling me.
In what month was that?
In March, when he started calling me. Okay, sorry.
In March, when you would ordinarily get your tax return. So what did you say to him?
I told him, I can't pay you back right now because I'm trying to get my situation together as far as making sure I can pay my bills. So please, I feel that you owe me because I took care of your son. And then that's when he told me, no, I want my money. I'm going to take you to court. No, matter of fact, I'm not going to take you to court. I'm going to take you to the streets. I know some people in Queens. So we went through all of that, Your Honor. He threatened my life. My daughter heard it, my son heard it. So now I'm scared because he threatened me, and now I got to watch my back every day to see, make sure over this money.
Ms. Poindexter, yes. I'm going to explain it to you very easily.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What do you do?
Right now, I'm not doing nothing.
Did you graduate from high school?
No.
Oh, that would be something for you to do, at least get a GED if you're not doing anything else.
Yes, you're right.
Oh, I know I'm right.
And later today.
What did you learn from your life class? What did you learn there?
I learned a lot today.
You didn't learn to pay your debts. That you didn't learn.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mark Davis says the mother of his son, Crystal Poindexter, owes for a loan to pay her rent.
Now, Mr. Davis should never resort to threats.
Yes.
And resort to what he considers street justice.
Yes.
Neither should you.
No.
Which is what you did. You borrowed this money from him because you were in arrears in your rent and you had trouble paying your bills. And then when you began to reflect on it and think about it, you said, you know what? He really wasn't a supportive father and didn't pay his fair share for 20 years. I don't owe him this money. It's unreasonable for him to ask me to pay him back this money, because that's what you say in your answer. That's what you say in your answer. That, too, is a different form of street justice.
Yes, Sean.
It says, listen, I didn't get what I felt was fair, so I'm going to take matters into my own hands. If you thought that he owed you money, what you do is you take him to court.
Yes.
But you don't borrow money if you're in a state of an emergency and then decide to change the rules because of some alleged past slight or past irresponsible behavior. Mr. Davis, what, Mr. Davis?
Ms. Judge Judy, if she was so scared of me, how come on, I think it was the 26th of May, I forgot what month it was, ma'am, but what she did, she went with me to go see my mother, her and her daughter, after it was supposed to be the alleged threat, the week after.
Listen to me.
She went with me.
Listen to me.
I'm sorry, yes.
I think that Ms. Poindexter is making excuses. She did give you back a couple of $100.
Yes, ma'am.
Because of this, so she owes you $1,800.
Yes, ma'am.
Just for my own curiosity, Mr. Davis, while your son, who looks like a very nice young man, was growing up and living with his mother, I assume, were you paying child support?
Yes, ma'am. They was taking it out of my check every week.
How much?
I think it was $50 because I had a low-paying job. They was
Whatever
taking
it
out.
was.
Yes, ma'am.
And there were no arrears built up?
No, ma'am. Even if, well, if there was arrears, I caught up on it and paid it, and that was it. But it was no arrears like that, ma'am.
Yes.
He didn't pay child support, Your Honor, until I stopped working because my job relocated to Ohio. And I had to get on welfare. Welfare found him and made him pay child support.
How old was your son?
12.
Did you pay child support for the son's
Ms.
first
Judge
12
Judy,
years?
Before the public assistant contacted me, I would take my son shopping for school.
No. Mr. Davis, I've been in this business for a long time. We're not talking about taking shopping. We're not talking about buying clothes. We're not talking about taking to the movies. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about what you get.
I was getting money,
Sir.
giving money.
Okay, put your hand down. What do you do?
I'm just a student right now.
Where do you go to school?
I'm just, basically, I'm just going up and down. I'm not really in school right now, but I'm trying.
What are you doing?
Right now, I'm not doing nothing.
You have to do something.
I work in like a little auto sound, like work with cars and things like that.
Do you work enough to make some money?
Nah, it's nothing on the books or nothing. I'm not like on the payroll or nothing. I just help around the shop because I know the owner of the shop and things like that.
Did you graduate from high school?
No.
Well, that would be something for you to do, at least get a GED if you're not doing anything else.
You're absolutely right.
Oh, I know I'm right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
When somebody tell me they're going to give it to me as a gift.
She didn't say that at all.
My daughter's my witness.
No, Miss King, you just told me what she said.
and later today,
When did you purchase the car?
June of 2009.
And where is the car now?
Sitting at my house.
Why am I here?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mark Davis says the mother of his son, Crystal Poindexter, owes for a loan to pay her rent.
Now, you're 25?
Yeah.
Time's wasting. You'll blink, you'll be 50. And you want to do something else with your life other than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,800. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Parties are excused.
Judge
You may
Judy,
step up.
can I talk to you? He was using him for IRS.
Miss Poindexter, I just told you, and I'm going to repeat it one more time. He made a loan, which is what you asked him for. You changed the rules when you decided that he hadn't paid you any reasonable amount of support for your child. You can't do that. You had an agreement to pay him when you got your tax returns. You can't change that agreement. You owe him the money.
Okay,
that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's a deadbeat dad. He don't do nothing for my son.
I tried to break things down for her, but she just didn't want to pay me back.
I'm thankful for that, for he did that for me and stuff, but the way he does things, he's evil. He's conniving.
I was so evil. How come I had a payment plan on her and everything? I mean...
And he's no good, and that's wrong for him to be like this. To bring me to court for this.
She thought I was a jerk, and that's not right.
His son's mother, who takes care of his son, that he don't do nothing?
Now all of a sudden she wants to flip things around. And
Because he's evil, that's why.
But yeah, I'll be the evil one, I guess.
I would have worked it out, but he don't want, he's evil. He's an evil man, I'm telling y'all.
Wow, just be wary. Be wary of women like that, please.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Williams versus King. Step forward.
Katina Williams is suing her sister-in-law, Yolanda King, for an unpaid loan to attend a life seminar.
Miss Williams, the defendant is your sister-in-law, and you claim a loan that she has not repaid.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not exactly sure of what Miss King's defense is. She seems to suggest that you forgave the loan. When was it, and what was it for?
It was in December, and the loan
December of 2009?
Yes, ma'am, December of 2009, and the loan was for her to go on a trip to visit Miss Juanita.
Who is Miss Juanita?
She's an evangelist in Atlanta, Georgia, and she does, like, work on TBN, and it was supposed to be for a Christian women's trip that she needed to
Have you done that trip before?
No, this is my first time doing the trip.
And how much was it to go?
$1,000.
Was that for the event itself, or
It
for...
was a 2-day class.
Did it include your airfare or your transportation, your hotel, or just the class?
Just the class.
Where were you staying?
My brother-in-law.
How far away is that from where you live?
Atlanta, like 4 hours.
So you were going to drive?
I drove my car.
Why was it important for you to go if you didn't have the money?
I wanted to go to the event, the 2-day life class.
Did you ask your sister-in-law to lend you the money?
Yeah, I asked her. Can I...
When did you ask her?
I think it was the end of November.
And when did she give you the money?
She gave me the money on the 8th of December. My nephew went and picked the money up and deposited it for me. I have the papers right here.
And?
Deposited in the account.
And?
And they took it out the account.
So why are we here?
Why are we here?
Yeah.
Because she gave it to me as a loan. She
Yes, I understand. She gave it to you as a loan. You didn't pay her back. So why are we here?
Because she said in my living room, the Thursday before I left, we went to Cato's to get me a pair of pants. She bought me a pair of pants. And we got in my car, came back at my car, went in my living room, and she said, sister-in-law, I'm happy for you, that you're going on this trip because you deserve to go on this trip. She said, I'm going to give it to you because this is your destiny. And I said, okay. And
on what date did that conversation take place?
It was on the 10th, that Thursday.
Well, I thought she gave you the money on the 8th.
She gave me money on the 8th. The conversation took place to that Thursday, the day before I left, that Friday.
When were you supposed to pay her the money back?
When I was supposed to pay her the money back?
That was my question. You have to give me the answer.
After she told me I didn't have to pay her back.
I didn't ask you that. When were you supposed
to pay her back when I got my taxes. And when she told me I didn't have to pay her back.
She didn't tell you you don't have to pay her back? at all. I mean, you surmise by the phrase, I'm going to give this to you because I know it's your destiny, the fact that she unequivocally said to you, you do not have to pay me the money back? That's not what she said at all.
She said,
what did you learn from your life class?
Well, I learned a lot from my life.
What did you learn there?
I learned a lot, 2 days.
You didn't learn to pay your debts. That you didn't learn.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Anything else?
It's just been pretty ridiculous, the immaturity I've had to deal with, everything I've been through.
You know, that's what happens.
It is.
You know what I have to go through every day?
Sure.
Suing a family member? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
What did you learn?
But when somebody tell me they're going to give it to me as a gift.
She didn't say that at all.
My daughter's my witness.
No, Miss King, you just told me what she said. She said, I'm happy to have been able to do this for you.
Yeah, and she said she wasn't going to give it.
No, I'm happy to be able to do this for you. You heard it. You don't have to pay me the money back. I don't know what happened afterwards, but that's what you heard. So what I want to know is what you learned in the 2-day seminar with the evangelist. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think that the money was giving.
I don't have no reaction.
And yet, I don't think she really learned too much.
I don't have none.
Because her heart still hasn't changed. She's still hard. And
I don't even want to talk about it.
Basically, lesson not learned.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stewart versus Hunt. Step forward.
22-year-old Tara Stewart is suing former friend, 19-year-old James Hunt, for money owed on a car she sold him and for shooting up the car with a paintball gun.
Mr. Hunt, you purchased a used car from Miss Stewart.
Yes.
What kind of car did you purchase from?
Grand Am teal. I'm not sure the year.
How old?
1994.
And how much did you purchase the car for?
$500.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. And how much did you pay her?
I've paid her $120 so far, and I lost my job. So
I didn't ask you anything else. I asked you how much you paid her. And when did you purchase the car?
June of 2009.
And where is the car now?
Sitting at my house.
Why am I here?
She refuses to come and get the car when
she doesn't have to get the car. She sold you the car.
She has the title and the keys.
She's going to give them to you.
Okay.
As soon as you pay her, $380. Do you understand? That's what it is. $380 is what you still owe her.
Yes, that is what I owe her.
Good.
I have
Perfect.
The job.
Anything else?
Yeah, he slandered me on the internet quite a bit. Yeah, it's just been pretty ridiculous, the immaturity I've had to deal with, everything I've been through.
You know, that's what happens.
It is.
You know what I have to go through every day? Hey,
yeah, I'm the immature.
You know what I have to go through every day?
Sure.
He owes you $380 for the car. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Out the back door to your right.
And on the next Judge Judy, 23-year-old Larissa Wills is suing her ex-boyfriend, 25-year-old Denby Cooper, for an unpaid loan to pay off traffic tickets.
Yeah, it's case number 147 on the calendar in the matter of Wills versus Cooper. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Cooper, what do you do for a living, sir?
I'm the head of domestic sales for a multi-million-dollar company.
And how long have you had that job?
Since about November of 2009.
How much do you earn?
$35,000 a year.
Get commissions?
Yes.
Bonuses?
Not yet.
Have you gotten a commission?
Not yet.
So your base salary is $35,000.
Right.
Who do you live with?
I live with my parents.
What do they do for a living?
My mother works for the county, and my father owns a construction company.
When were you and Miss Wills planning to get married?
We hadn't set a date. It was something that we had talked about loosely. We were trying to get all of our ducks in a pond first. At the time, I was unemployed. I wanted to make sure we moved out first, lived together. So we didn't have a date set.
And when you were together, where were you living?
I lived with my parents.
So even when you were dating and discussing marriage, you were living with your parents?
Correct.
And where was Miss Wills living?
With her parents.
Now, you accumulated a whole bunch of tickets.
Correct.
Where?
In Riverside County.
Why?
They were mostly tinted window tickets that I had forgotten about.
What does that mean, tinted window tickets?
My windows on my truck were illegally tinted.
Why were they illegally tinted?
It's the way I bought it.
How many tickets did you get for that?
I think the total was maybe 4.
What else did you get tickets for?
That's all I can remember. It's been so long.
How long ago was it?
It's been well over a year since we paid off the tickets.
Now, you use the word we loosely, I assume, because you didn't pay for the tickets.
Right.
Tell me how that came about, Mr. Cooper.
When we were planning on getting married, I was planning on becoming a police officer. Something like this was holding me back, and we were planning on going to Vegas. I got pulled over, and he said I didn't have a license, which I was unaware of, and we were still going to Vegas.
So you had no license?
Right.
You were pulled over, and you were driving?
Right.
Without a license?
Right.
What do you mean you weren't aware of the fact you didn't have a license?
I never received a letter from the DMV in the mail.
Of course you did. If you've been living with your parents your whole life, you got it in the mail, you ignored it.
I just moved back home.
You ignored your tinted windows. You moved back home from where?
Temecula.
Who were you living in Temecula with?
Friends of mine.
Is that where you got the tickets for tinted windows?
That's where I assume my mail was forwarded, and I had never received it since then.
How long were you living with friends in Temecula?
Well over a year.
And what's the current address on your driver's license?
Riverside.
And were you living in Riverside when you got your driver's license?
Yes.
How old are you?
25.
And how long is a driver's license valid for?
I don't know.
4 years, 5 years, 10 years, as long as a driver's license is valid in the state of California.
I do not know.
Do you have your driver's license with you?
I don't have it on me, no.
So what you're trying to tell me, Mr. Cooper, is you went to motor vehicles and changed your address when you were living in Temecula?
I changed my address to Temecula. When I came back home, I never changed it back.
They send your mail where your driver's license indicates that you live. My question to you, Mr. Cooper, is, are you trying to tell me that a man who accumulates tickets for the same offense time after time doesn't know how long his driver's license is good for, but was a good enough citizen to go to Temecula and advise the county in Temecula that you had temporarily relocated with friends to change your address on your driver's license? I just want you to tell me that that's what you want me to believe.
That's not what I'm telling you.
Fine. Then your mail went to Riverside, not to Temecula. And when it went to Riverside, your parents, somebody responsible who works for the county, and your father who has his own business would have said, hey, idiot, your driver's license is suspended. You get where I'm going?
I understand.
Perfect. Now, let's move on with the tickets. So you were planning to be a police officer, just what we need. And this was holding you back because you were on your way to Vegas and you got pulled over and you had no driver's license. Did they impound your truck?
No, I wasn't on my way to Vegas when I got pulled over.
Oh, I thought you were on your way to Vegas.
It was something that we had planned to do.
Oh, so you weren't on your way there. No. You got pulled over in Riverside.
Correct.
And they said your license has been suspended because you didn't pay all these tickets.
Correct.
Who was in the truck with you?
Nobody.
So what happened to your truck?
I turned around and went home.
They let you drive home with no license?
I was a quarter mile from my house.
They let you drive home with
Correct.
no license. And what did you do when you got home?
Tried to figure out why I didn't have a license.
And did you figure it out?
I did.
What did you figure?
The culmination of all the tickets that I had.
So you must have called somebody to find out. Did you ask your mom to help you?
No.
How did you find out?
Went to the DMV. The DMV told me.
You went yourself?
Right.
How did you get there?
I had a friend drive me.
Great. And when you got to the DMV, you found out that you had accumulated these tickets with fines. To what amount?
Roughly $2,600-ish.
$2,600-ish.
Ish.
Got it. So then what did you do?
Had to find out what the tickets were for. Had to find out how to pay them off.
How did you pay them off?
I didn't pay them off.
Well, they were paid off.
Correct.
How did that happen?
Larissa paid them off.
Tell me how that happened.
Before we went to Vegas, she said that she didn't want to drive. And I was gonna set up a payment plan, but it would take too long to pay off all the tickets. So the end result would be...
Which means you wouldn't have a license.
Correct. Which means I couldn't drive to Vegas.
Go ahead.
Okay. Then Larissa didn't want to drive to Vegas. We were going with a group of friends. So she offered to pay them off for me.
What did she say?
She said...
No, don't look there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember the best I can, too. She said something along the lines that she had a credit card or she had money, because I don't have a credit card, and that she offered to pay them off for me.
Not offered. She said something to you.
She said she will pay them off for me.
Okay. Now, how were you supposed to pay her back?
I wasn't supposed to pay her back.
That's a lie,
Well,
Your Honor.
You were going to make a payment plan with the people in Temecula.
Riverside.
Or Riverside.
Correct.
Oh, these tickets were from Riverside. Fabulous. Good. You were going to make a payment plan with the people in Riverside, and they are strangers to you.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you at least make a payment plan with your girlfriend and say, listen, if you pay them off for me, I'll at least give you what I was going to pay to the county.
Correct.
Why didn't you stop saying correct? Why wouldn't you say that to her?
I didn't need to. She offered it as a gift.
That's a lie.
Why wouldn't you say that to her?
Because I didn't.
Why?
Because it was a gift.
He did say that to me, Your Honor.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I assumed it to be a gift. It was brought to me as a gift. I wouldn't offer to pay my grandma for a sweater for Christmas.
Don't be a wise guy with me. Why didn't you ask your mother who works for the county or your father who has his own business?
They said no.
Because you're a bum.
And later today.
I want you to start to think. You didn't think you were coming to the beach today, and you knew what she was suing you for. So let's start to think and not act like a goofball, okay, sir?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Larissa Wills says ex-boyfriend Denby Cooper owes for a large loan to pay off traffic tickets.
Now, what I'm asking you is, why wouldn't you say that to her? Sweetheart, they're my tickets. I got them. I was wrong. I don't want you to take out money from a credit card. As it happens, she says she borrowed it from her mother's credit card and then paid her mother back. But I don't want you to be out the money. It's my fault. It's my responsibility. If you pay it off up front so that I can have a license, you know, I'll pay you and your mother back slowly. Why wouldn't a person like you do that?
Because I didn't, Your Honor. Because I assumed it to be a gift. It was brought to me as a gift. I wouldn't offer to pay my grandma for a sweater for Christmas.
Why didn't, listen, don't be a wise guy with me. Why didn't you ask your mother who works for the county or your father who has his own business?
Because they wouldn't pay it for me.
Why?
They said no.
Because you're a bum.
I'm not a bum.
Well, sure you were. You weren't working.
Right.
You were 24 years old. You're a bum. And you had no business going to Vegas. How are you going to Vegas if you were 24 years old, had no job? What were you going to do in Vegas? Stand on a corner?
No.
What were you going to do in Vegas?
Go out with friends. We had a group of people who were going with us.
And how were you going to go out? What were you going to use as barter?
I had money.
From what?
I was working part-time.
Part-time where?
At a cell phone repair company.
On the books or off the books?
Off the books.
Were you getting unemployment insurance?
Yes.
Huh? Always follow the money. That's why I love this job. How long were you working off the books while you were collecting unemployment?
Not very long.
I want the president to listen to this. Go ahead.
Not
How
very
long? Not very long. How long is not very long?
Less than a month, 3 weeks. It wasn't a daily job. I fixed cell phones from home.
You had enough to go to Vegas along with the government's help.
Correct. We split the tab.
You're a big boy. You eat a burger and a half. And you were going out with friends. That's not cheap in Vegas. So the couple of 3 days a week that maybe you worked for a cell phone company while collecting unemployment and saying you were looking for work, you must have earned really good money fixing cell phones.
No.
How much did you pay off for his tickets?
It was $26.78.
How much did he pay you back?
$200.
Lovely. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,470. You get a ticket. It's your responsibility to pay it. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm very happy with it.
I was a little disappointed.
I guess he just didn't want to pay me back for the tickets, and I couldn't get a hold of him.
It was a gift.
He told me to never call him again.
I didn't want to talk to her anymore.
He was mad at me because we broke up.
After she broke up with me to be with somebody else, I had no desire to want to be with her anymore or talk to her.
We just weren't good for each other.
Don't trust women?
Never loan people any money without a written agreement.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of McClellan versus Lotz. Step forward, please.
Sammy McClellan is suing her ex-boyfriend, David Lotz, for loans for child support, rent, and an airline ticket.
Miss McClellan, you met the defendant, according to the complaint that I read on the internet. You began to date him and made a series of loans to him. You no longer are involved in any sort of relationship. You want your money back. Mr. Lotz says that there was never any agreement to pay you back any of the money that you gave to him. And the one issue with regard to an airline ticket, you were unable to use it and you gave it to him as a gift. Mr. Lotz, When did you and the plaintiff begin a relationship?
I don't know if I would call it a relationship per se. I talked to her online, and I think I saw her maybe a total of 4 times.
And how long did it last?
Until the time that I thought it was just non-conducive to have any contact with her whatsoever.
Why was that?
Just erratic behavior by emails, text messages, and I have 2 small sons, and I just didn't think that any type of relationship would be an appropriate environment for her to be around them.
Okay. At what point did you decide that? Did you decide that before or after you took money from her?
Well, it would be after.
While you were taking money from her, everything was fine?
We really didn't have a relationship per se except friendship. As I said, I saw her 3 times, 4 times.
Was it clear to you, sir, that she had more of an interest in you than you had in her?
No, not necessarily.
How much money did you give her over the course of the brief time that you spent with her?
None.
How many gifts did you purchase for her?
None.
How much money did you take from her?
It was roughly $2,000.
And what did you take the money for?
I had some past bills, and well, the $2,000, that would include the plane ticket that was a gift.
Forget the plane ticket. I'm not interested in a plane ticket. She had a plane ticket that she couldn't use, and it was going to go to waste, and she gave it to you. Who cares? I'm interested in cash.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You were doing either some sort of courting or some sort of conning, or you're a pervert. You have 3 choices. Those are the only 3 choices I can come up with. Courting, conning, or a pervert.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sammy McClellan says ex-boyfriend David Lotz owes for loans to pay his child support and rent.
Now, Mr. Lotz, how much cash money did you take from Miss McClellan?
About $1,700.
Let me hear the first amount of money that you took from her. When was it and what was it for?
I'm not sure the exact date, but I had some...
I don't need an exact date. Give me a month and year.
Roughly 4 months ago, last year.
Well, 4 months ago would not be last year, sir. Your math is off. When was the first time he took money from you?
It was on, actually, March 2nd.
And what was it for, Mr. Lotz?
I had some past due things that I had to pay.
Like what?
Various things. I don't know right now. I mean, we had a discussion.
I want you to start to think. You didn't think you were coming to the beach today. And you knew what she was suing you for. So let's start to think and not act like a goofball. Okay, sir? What was the money for? You saw her, according to you, 3 or 4 times. In at least 2 of those 3 or 4 times, she gave you money. What was the first one for?
I believe the first one is I had some utilities stuff and some insurance.
How would she know that you had issues with your utilities and your insurance?
We had extensive conversations via the internet and Facebook. That was basically the bulk of the relationship.
You mean that you needed money?
I was going through a very hard divorce, and I confided in her as a friend, and so she knew the situation of everything that was going on.
Don't tell me what she knew. If you're courting a woman on the internet, which is what you were doing.
I don't know. I think that's a
well, unless you're some sort of a pervert, I would assume that if you were on the internet involving someone in the intimacy of your life, you were doing either some sort of courting or some sort of conning, or you're a pervert. You have 3 choices. Those are the only 3 choices I can come up with. Courting, conning, or a pervert.
I don't see it that way.
I don't care what you see. So somehow she knew you needed money for your utilities and insurance. This had nothing to do with child support, did it?
No, I was paid for. I took care of that. It was paid.
When was it paid, sir?
I pay the first week of every month.
I told her about a hearing that was coming up March 2010 and the child support payments I needed to make right away. That's what you wrote. That's not what she wrote. That's what you wrote. That's not a utility. Your children are not utilities. They may be utilities to you, but child support is not a utility or insurance. How much did you give for child support?
It was $600.
That's a better answer. Now, these are the 2 sons that you didn't want to be around somebody that was as kooky as the plaintiff, right? These are the 2 small sons that you're very attached to, or do you have other sons?
Just them.
Just them. She didn't make them, did she? She didn't make them.
No, ma'am.
Whose responsibility is it to support him?
Mine.
Right. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a chef.
So you eat regularly. And the court sent an order of support that you were supposed to pay. Why didn't you pay it?
I was having some financial difficulties.
So you were either courting her, conning her, or you're a pervert. Right now we fit into the conning part.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How much money did she send you in rent?
$11.50.
How much did you send back to her?
It was a gift in my estimation.
How much did you send back to her? The answer is
Nothing.
none. Now you know where you fit.
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, $600. It's not her responsibility to support your children. What other money did you take from her, Mr. Lotz?
My rent.
Rent. Who did you live with?
Myself.
So let's see. You're not paying child support, and you didn't have any money for rent. So what category are you? You're either courting her, conning her, or you're a pervert. How much money did she send you in rent?
$11.50.
How much did you send back to her?
You know, it was a gift in my estimation.
How much did you send back to her? The answer is
Nothing.
none. Now, in what month did she give you the $11.50 for rent?
It was March.
So in March, she gave you money for child support and rent.
To be honest, I don't remember.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at what point did you believe that she was a threat to your two children? What month was that?
It would have been in June.
Did you see her in April?
No, it was. No, I'm sorry. It was May. I'm sorry, Your Honor. It was May.
Everybody fits into one of those categories on the internet. Now you know where you fit. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $17.50. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, 34-year-old Shelley Stevens is suing her ex-boyfriend, Jason Halstead, for bail money, loans, and damaged property.
Order. All rise.
Yes, case number 174 on the calendar in the matter of Stevens versus Halstead.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Stevens, your complaint alleges that the defendant, who was your boyfriend, owes you some money for loans. And Mr. Halstead says there was never actually an agreement to pay you back any of the money that he acknowledges that you advanced him. He said that they were gifts, he needed some cash, and you were going to be a couple, and you were more than happy to be generous when he needed it. Is that right?
That's correct.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Halstead?
I've been a network engineer for 11 years in the computer field.
What kind of income do you have?
Make 80 grand a year on top of commission.
You've been working for the same company for 11 years?
No.
How long have you been working for your current company?
Current company, I've been employed with them since February 22nd of 2010.
And when did you and Ms. Stevens start a relationship?
We started the relationship, met on February 14th. Of 2010.
And you started this new job on February 22nd.
Correct.
So you started it a week later.
Correct.
Now, what was the first loan you gave him?
Within the first couple of weeks, I got him loans for $1,613.35.
For what?
For work-related expenses for him.
Explain that to me.
I met him on February 14th, and soon after that, he got a job, and he said that he needed money for his work. So I lent him the money under the agreement. We had a verbal contract stating that he would pay me back upon his first paycheck. I have receipts.
I'm listening.
There was no agreement to that.
Well, tell me how the work-related expenses, which she describes as work-related expenses, I assume some clothes. How did that come about?
Basically, I had a business trip as we were starting our lives together and lived.
You weren't starting your life together. You met her February 14th. You start your new job February 22nd. You need some clothes. Now you know each other a week.
We also moved in together.
When?
Pretty much instantly.
When you say instantly, you met February 14th where?
We met through a mutual friend at somebody's birthday get-together at a local bar.
And?
And pretty much we're inseparable ever since. We clicked right away, had a really good rapport with her. She seemed like a genuine good person.
And you had no place to live?
I had a place to live.
Where were you living?
I was living out of my car and on friends' couch.
You were living out of your car. So you connected right away, living out of your car.
Yep.
You met her. She was lonely, and she said you might as well move in with me.
She didn't have a place to live. She was living with her current boyfriend, who was 20 years older than her.
So where did you move to?
My condo, my apartment / condo that we have, and that I'm currently in.
And how did you get that condo?
I basically negotiated with my new employer to provide me with a loan in order to secure that place of living.
And Miss Stevens moved in with you?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
March 1st.
When did she move out?
End of May, I believe it was, middle of May.
So she lived with you March and April and most of May.
Correct.
And what was the financial arrangement?
We had a verbal agreement that I would handle all the...
What was the financial arrangement?
Oh, that I would pay the bills as far as rent, the electricity, utilities, and she would take care of the food and any other particulars.
Okay. And did you pay the rent from March, April, and May?
Yes, ma'am.
When Miss Stevens lived there?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the rent?
The rent is $13.50.
And where were you living prior to March?
I was living with my ex-boyfriend of 5 years.
And when did you start to date Mr. Halstead?
On February 14th.
When did you move out of the boyfriend's house?
A couple days later.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a special ed teacher.
And when you moved out of the boyfriend's house, where did you move to?
I moved to my mom's house for a while first.
For how long?
For a couple weeks, until he got the condo.
No.
And then you moved in with him?
Correct.
Go.
That's incorrect. She basically moved directly out of his place, in with me, had me stay with her mom for a couple days while we were waiting for the condo to be cleaned out and closed.
So you stayed with her mother with her?
Right.
Okay.
There was no separation period between her and her ex. And
well, when she was staying with her mom.
Well, with me.
With you.
Right.
Well, that's a separation period. Okay. So you didn't pay anything in rent as a special ed teacher March, April, and May.
Correct. Okay.
Got it.
So when we talked about the verbal agreement for the work-related expenses, my witness here was here when she heard Jason agree that he would promise that he would pay me back for all the work-related expenses listed here. I have receipts and credit card statements paid for my credit card made out in his name.
What kind of expenses did you have March, April, and May?
Gas, food, everything for us to survive on. I'm buying a home right now, so I had to put a large sum down for my deposit on my home that I am about to move into.
That's your problem, Ms. Stevens. That's not his problem.
He had my credit card. I spent everything for gas, groceries, utilities, cell phone bills, Comcast, etc., gas, insurance.
I'd want to see that.
Yeah.
He says there was no agreement to pay you back for work-related expenses. That's his statement.
I have a witness stating that she heard that.
I'm not sure about it.
Okay. These are a bunch of credit card statements.
Do those credit card statements have on them water, Comcast? Do they have those expenses on it?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
Well, take a look. That's what I want to see.
Okay. They have the cell phone bill and I believe Comcast.
I'm not talking about whose cell phone.
I paid for both our cell phone bills, Comcast, everything.
You keep saying that. I just want to see it on your credit card statement. Don't show me the whole credit card statement. Bird, give her a pencil. She's not following me.
Circle.
Circle. Comcast. Power. Light. Water.
Yeah. I found 2 expenses on here.
So what I have here that you have circled is $169 in California Comcast on March 16th. I have 19 AT&T for $149. Am I correct that that's it?
No, I just did not come prepared. I apologize for that.
Well, this is prepared. This is your visa.
That's just the work-related expenses that I brought in.
No, my dear. Miss Stevens, is what you're telling me you have more than one credit card?
Yeah.
Go get it. Go get your bills for the other credit card that you say you have other items that were household items. Wait. But don't waste my time, because all they have to do is fax them to you, and we can make arrangements to do that now. So far I have $318 that you have circled from February to April.
I have a pile in the back about this tall of about $5,000 in expenses that I can go grab.
Expenses for what?
Groceries, utilities.
Are they paid bills? By you?
And
what did you pay them with?
My other credit card. But most of them are groceries and other expenses. I only paid the Comcast and the AT&T bill.
See what happens when you get the nose starts to twitter?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's a con man. He's been doing this his whole life. He's a career criminal.
When were you served with the restraining order?
I mean, he's conned me. He's been conning people his whole life, and I can prove it with a background check.
And later today.
Can you do that? If not, I'm dismissing your case. Go back to your local small claims court and duke it out if some judge is idiot enough to do it. This judge is not that kind of an idiot.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Shelley Stevens says ex-boyfriend Jason Halstead owes for loans and for property he either damaged or refuses to return.
What else do you claim he owes you money for?
In March, shortly after his first paycheck, he traveled to Atlanta, Georgia to visit a friend, and he got arrested for drug-related charges, and he asked me to please bail him out. And as much as I did not want to and let him know that he still owed me money, he let me know that he would not be able to pay me back any of the money that he had promised that he would pay me back unless I sent money over. So with another agreement that he pay me back immediately upon his next paycheck, I did send the MoneyGram over. I have the receipt and the statement of the MoneyGram that I sent over to bail him out of jail so that he can pay me back. And at this time, when he came back, he was unable to pay me back with his next paycheck because he was so behind on child support from being a deadbeat father because he had been unemployed for a year and a half. He owed people money for who knows what, and people were supposedly after him for money, so he was not able to pay me back again. At this point, I got really upset, Your Honor, and that's when I went back in to get all of my items out of the house because he had not paid me back. At that time, he got physically and emotionally abusive. He threw me down. He threw my refrigerator down. I have pictures of the refrigerator that he broke. I have a police report because I felt unsafe and had to call the police, as well as my stepfather, to be there while I moved out all of my large items. And I have a copy of the police report if you'd like to see it.
No, I wouldn't. I want to know, on April 11th, there's a charge here that says work supplies.
That was from Fry's Electronics for his work. And that was part of the verbal agreement that he promised he would pay me back.
Was that April 11th before or after the $400 that you sent to him?
April 11th was after the $400 that I had sent him. I was on March 27th that I sent him the $400 to bail him out of jail.
I'll hear you now, sir. Go.
I have the contract for the loan if you need to see that from my employer.
I don't have to see it. I believe that she paid $300 towards the expenses of running the house for the 3 months that she lived there.
Basically, I've lost my job as a result of filing a restraining order against her. She has a firearm that she has not submitted yet to.
That's not true, Your
When
Honor.
you filed a restraining order against her, was that restraining order granted?
Yes, it was.
I'd like to see it.
Here is the first one, which was filed on...
No, I don't want to see the first one. I want to see the one that was granted.
He's been doing this his whole life. He's a career criminal. I have a 5-page criminal background check on him. I mean, he's conned me. He's been conning people his whole life, and I can prove it with a background check.
When were you served with the restraining order?
On June 15th, which is the date that he promised he would pay me back, Your Honor.
Stop with the money! Just answer my question. When were you served with the restraining order? And when was the first hearing date?
It was yesterday.
And what happened?
The judge said that there was not sufficient evidence for a restraining order and that she would grant a temporary one for 90 days.
So the answer is she granted a restraining order for 90 days.
Yes.
She didn't dismiss his application for a restraining order.
Correct.
She granted it for 90 days.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were present.
Yes.
Got it.
Your Honor, prior to that, he was upset because I was asking for the money that he had promised back, and he said that he was going to ruin
Ms.
my life.
Stevens, I want you to think about this. One would like to think that someone who teaches children with special needs would exercise better judgment than moving in with somebody that she's known for a week. That's number one. Number two, when you lend somebody money and they don't pay you back, the dumb thing is to lend them more money. And then the dumber thing is to lend them more money after that and to allow them to continue to use your credit card. Now, that would make me feel sorry for you if you got taken in by Mr. Halstead and kept giving him money because you were crazy about him and you thought that you were going to have a life together. The thing that makes me less sympathetic towards you, Ms. Stevens, is that you really paid nothing for 3 months, which allows somebody who works for the Board of Education to save enough money, as you said, to put a down payment on a house.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
do you expect courts to make a determination whether you own the vacuum cleaner? Do you actually expect a court to make that judgment? Yes. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to behave like grown-ups.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Shelley Stevens says ex-boyfriend Jason Halstead owes for loans and for property he either damaged or refuses to return.
So I feel less sympathy for you in the money that you laid out for him, which was, according to you, if I believe everything that you say, was $2,600, because $2,600 divided by 3 equals $866 a month. That would have covered your rent, water, utilities, because you don't have any of those on here, and everything else, which seems to be a rather even trade for the $2,600 that you advanced to him. So I have less sympathy for you, and therefore I feel less guilty about dismissing your case. Do you understand?
I do understand,
I
Your
don't
Honor.
believe there was a loan, and if I'm mistaken that there was an agreement to pay you back, you more than got paid back by living rent and utility free for the 3 months that you lived with Mr. Halstead, a fact that you do not seem to deny, but that you acknowledge when you tell me that you had a lot of expenses because you were saving up for a down payment on a house. Your case is dismissed.
Your
Thank
Honor?
you very much.
Your Honor, please.
That's it.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's just belligerent, acts very bipolar-ish.
He became emotionally and physically abusive.
Choked me during conversations
He threatened my life. He threw me down to the ground.
because she didn't like what I had to say.
He still continues to harass me.
The women scorned, you never know what they're going to do.
I'm genuinely scared.
Just glad it worked out and the truth prevailed.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Muir versus DeLapp, step forward, please.
Annalise Muir is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert DeLapp, for the return of property in a storage unit that's in his name.
Ms. Muir, how many years did you live together?
Off and on for 8.5 years.
What does that mean, off and on?
The first 4 years was an off and on. After that, it became pretty permanent.
It's your statement that after you broke up, certain property was taken out of a joint storage unit that belonged to you.
Yes.
He says you took certain take your hands out of your pockets.
Sorry.
He says certain property was taken by you that belonged to him. Now, do you expect courts to make a determination after living together for almost 9 years whether you own the vacuum cleaner, which is in here, or you own a television set? Do you actually expect a court to make that judgment?
Yes.
Doesn't work that way. You have to behave like grown-ups. If you separated your house, you take whatever property is yours, put it aside, label it. You take whatever property is yours, put it aside, label it, and forget it. We don't have time for this nonsense. Even when people get a divorce, were you ever divorced?
Yes.
Do you have a judgment of divorce?
Yes.
Did you have an attorney?
No.
Did you divide the property with your ex-husband?
No, I left it with him.
Then you left it. You didn't come back and say, I want the dishes, I want the glasses. Let me see what else he wants. Took my Kirby vacuum cleaner. That's you.
Yes.
We don't have time for this.
Your Honor,
Now,
we did buy things separately during the relationship.
great. Go outside into the hall, go through your property, whatever you can decide upon with each other that belongs to you, that he has, he'll give back to you. And whatever he has, including the vacuum cleaner that you have that belongs to him, you can give back to him. You can come in here with a list, and I will mark it, so ordered. Other than that, I'm not going through a storage unit of your stuff. That's all. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Yes, recall case number 158 in the matter of Muir versus DeLapp. Parties are reminded they're still under oath.
Can I have your list, please? These are the items that you agreed belong to each other. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. Will you sign off on all these things because you can make the exchange of that property within the next 5 days? I don't think you need a marshal to do that. It sounds to me as if you've all done that in a very civilized way. Sign off on it.
He's got harassment down for $4,000.
Miss Muir, don't ask him. What do you want to know?
I was asking him to show you who's got harassment down for $4,000.
Just a second. Only property is going to be exchanged. Property is going to be exchanged. No money,
each one or
no
ones
harassment.
I agreed to, or what?
Only if those are what you've agreed to. Are those
Well, the
things
TV's been sold, so how would I return it?
If the TV's been sold, I can't help you.
She already knew about this. It was sold
Listen
for
to me
rent
very
in April.
carefully. No money is going to be exchanged. Only property. So whatever property each of you has in your own possession that belong to the other, figure it out. I will so order it, and you can exchange it. No money is going to be exchanged. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Can you do that? If not, I'm dismissing your case. Go back to your local small claims court and duke it out if some judge is idiot enough to do it. This judge is not that kind of an idiot. Do we understand each other?
Yeah, but see, it's not about me.
No.
Oh, my God.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Yeah, it's case number 36 on the calendar in the matter of Idris versus Brown.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Idris, the defendant is your former girlfriend, and it is your claim that she keyed your car when she got annoyed with you about something or other. Usually that's about another person in your life.
Right.
She denies that she did it. When was your car vandalized?
March 8th, Monday morning, around maybe from 10 to 11 a.m.
And when had you and Miss Brown had a falling out?
The previous night, she was at my house, which was March 7th. I picked her up around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Came to my house, we hanged out like we usually do. Just, you know, sitting down, whatever like that. So, say, fast forward to about 9 p.m., I'm getting ready to take her home, and she goes to use the bathroom. So while she goes use the bathroom, she grabs my phone. I didn't notice. So she's in the bathroom for about 5 minutes going through my phone. Meanwhile, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, let's go, let me take you home. So she comes out the bathroom, starts screaming, starts, you know, going off, like, oh, what's these pictures in your phone of girls, something like that. I said, listen.
Why did you take his phone?
I didn't have no reason to take his phone. I just seen it on the counter, and I thought just to take it and look in the bathroom.
And you took his phone in the bathroom in order to see who he had been contacting?
Yes.
Okay. And you found something on the phone that you didn't like?
Yes.
Okay. Now I got it. So, what happened?
So, fast forward, she was angry, she seen the photos, so she's like, take me home, take me home, take me home now. So, whatever, we going downstairs. Meanwhile, I'm still kind of in my head, like, I mean, what is she really talking about? So we get in my car in the garage for me to take her home. The minute she steps into the car, she starts swinging at me, hitting me in my face. So I restrain her, like, chill, stop hitting me, what you doing? Like, chill, what are you doing? She's like, you know what? I'm going home. I got something. She get out the car, excuse my language, she gonna say,
Just a minute, had you pulled out of your garage?
No, I didn't even start the car yet.
No, but at the time she got out of the car, had you gotten out of the garage?
No, the car was still in the garage.
Okay.
So she get out the car, she dropped her keys, she's picking up her keys while I was holding her bag. I guess she dropped some stuff. So as she's walking out the car, excuse my language, she said, I got something for that A word, A. So in my head, I'm like, what can she possibly do to me to kind of...
I don't care what was in your head.
All right, well, that's what she said. So,
I don't care what was in your head. I only care about what she said to you,
okay,
what you said to her,
right,
what you saw her do,
right,
and what she said she did.
All right, well, that's what she said. So now we go next day, Monday morning, and I'm in my house, Monday morning, regular day, nothing, you know, I'm just hanging out.
Just a second. Let me understand this, Mr. Idris. So she left. You never took your car out of the garage?
Nope, I didn't even move it.
And she left. She walked home?
She walked home, yep.
Okay, how far is her house from
About
yours?
a 10, 15-minute walk by the Bronx Zoo.
She walked home, and you didn't hear from her again that night?
Oh, I did. She sent me a text message.
That night?
Yeah, more or less. I have the text message right here. It was actually...
see it.
Sure. It was actually 7 in the morning, 7:13 in the morning.
Okay, so the answer is you didn't hear from her again that night after about 9:30 at night?
Right, yeah, nothing, just
okay,
a text
you didn't hear from her, she didn't call you?
Nope.
And the next thing you got from her was a text message at 7 in the morning?
Yes.
So when you got this text message from her, I assume you went out to look at your car?
Not right away, because she sent, her first text message, she said, enjoy your car. So I put a question mark, like, what do you mean enjoy my car? So she sent me a text message back, and it was saying, enjoy your car, I'm not mad anymore.
I guess she got me whatever she did to my car. I still don't know to this point. So I see the text message. I go downstairs to see what this enjoy your car means. I go downstairs. I see the car is keyed. So I'm looking like, oh, man,
Can I see the photographs?
Yeah, sure.
Did you speak to her after you looked at your car?
I was text messaging her saying, you know what, I'm about to file a lawsuit, you about to get arrested for this.
Well, so do you have those text messages?
Sure. Right there.
Go.
Me and Holly met Judy met April 20th.
I don't care. I already know all the facts that I care to know about up until the time you keyed his car. Now, Miss Brown, you're entitled to be angry. You snoop, sometimes you get more than you planned on getting, right? You're actually entitled to be angry and go home and say, I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. I am a beautiful young woman and I don't need somebody who's not going to do the right thing to me. You're not allowed to vandalize his car. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
We don't have to go through these, do we?
No.
Can I see the estimate to have your car painted?
Yeah, I got 2 different estimates, so based on those.
What year car is this, sir?
It's a 93.
All right, but you'd do me a favor, use that brand new book that we got and look up a 1993 Lexus. Mr. Idris would like a paint job for $9,000.
Well, that's what the guy wrote up. I didn't,
I
you know what I'm saying? I didn't.
And I would like to see what he could buy a 1993 unscratched Lexus for.
What does the other estimate say?
I don't know, whatever. You're suing for $5,000. I have to see what your car is worth.
Right.
1993 Lexus ES300, GS300, SC300. Which one?
What kind of car do you have?
LS400.
LS400.
Yes.
While he's looking that up, Mr. Idris, when did you purchase this car?
September of 2008.
And what did you pay for it?
Paid about 30.
Not about. I don't want to hear about.
$3,800.
Okay.
$4,025.
Got a good deal on it back in 2008. How many miles did it have on it?
153,000.
You want to give me a revised estimate on that?
$3325.
That sounds
in fair condition.
That sounds more like it. Now, you have to get a good paint job.
Indeed.
How much do you think a good paint job is going to cost you?
Well, based on those estimates...
I don't want to hear about it based on those estimates, sir. Your car is worth, at most, $3,000.
Okay.
How much do you think you're going to have it repaired for? Otherwise, you'll sign it over to Miss Brown. She can sell it, and you can get a new car for $3,000. What's your pleasure?
I'm sorry? I didn't hear you.
It was a little too fast.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is he worth it?
No, he's not.
So, right? Show him the door.
And later today.
How long was she home with the children, raising your 4 children?
Well, her, along with the maid that she had, was for quite a while, Your Honor.
Just a second. Okay. Maid that you had.
Well,
a maid that you had.
That we mutually had.
That's better.
Okay, I understand that.
That's better.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Halim Idris says ex-girlfriend Chelsea Brown keyed his car in a jealous rage.
How much do you think you're going to have the car painted for?
About what you quoted, $33,000, $3,200, full paint job, and the bumper, because the bumper was damaged too. So
paint job.
About $3,000.
You better get it done for $1,000, because that's all you're going to get.
Wow.
On a $3,000 car. Nobody should invest more than a third of the car to get it painted. So I guarantee you can find somebody in New York to get it painted for you for $1,000, right?
I'll try.
I think you should try. Have you had the car painted?
No.
You driving around with it the way it is?
Still like that.
Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. Not supposed to let your temper get the best of you. Is he worth it?
No, he's not.
So? Right?
You're right.
Show him the door. That's all. Judge the plaintiff.
Please excuse, you may step out.
I was looking for numbers, pictures, anything I could find.
Listen, man, it was a picture of one girl.
Naked girls.
She wasn't naked.
He kept telling me that they old pictures.
So she's making up stories.
He had different stories.
That's all she's doing.
Because I wanted him to feel how I was feeling the night before.
Hey, that's just how she is.
Hurt.
I didn't tell her to go on a jealous rage.
Never mess with me no more.
That's just what Chelsea do.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Awad versus Awad, step forward, please.
Dennis Awad is suing his ex-wife, Sandra Awad, for her share of their daughter's college tuition.
Mr. Awad, you and the defendants have children and are divorced. It is your claim that your former wife owes you some money for tuition and expenses for one of your children for school. You claim that there was an agreement with her that she would pay half of those expenses. When were you divorced?
2008.
It's July 2007, Your Honor.
Can I see a copy of the decree, please? Do you have a copy of the decree, Mr. Awad?
No, not with me.
Mr. Awad, were you represented by counsel?
Yes.
Did you have counsel?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Am I correct that the judgment of divorce does not mention anything with regard to college payments?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, sir. I'm ready to listen to you.
Okay, basically, we had an agreement, Sandra and I, to be able to pay for our adult children. We have 4 children, 3 of them were going to college, and that we would pay for their tuition and expenses, housing, everything to support them.
What do you mean that they're adult children?
They were children over 18.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were, you know, what I would consider adult children.
No, they're not adult children, sir. They're not for the purpose of college tuition. And that should have been in your decree.
Well, I mean, they're older children. I mean, I don't know.
The child for whom you are seeking reimbursement is how old?
Today, she's 22.
And for what year are you requesting reimbursement of her tuition?
Your Honor,
for this last year.
What?
For this last year.
What is she still doing in school at age 23?
She is trying to get her master's degree in 5 years, and she just actually had been able to achieve that this last month. So she's finished, almost finished with her degree.
Tell me when you made this arrangement with your former wife about paying tuition.
This arrangement was made over a period of time.
No. Listen, Mr. Awad, when did you make this arrangement with your wife, this contract, not arrangement, contract with your wife to pay for your half of your children's tuition?
It was made when she started to go to school, which would have been, I guess, probably 2006. But we continued at each time. We would have to renew the tuition. We would have to go ahead and get sometimes loans to be able to provide for her schooling.
That's voluntary payment, sir. Let me read to you what your decree says. This judgment is intended to be final, complete, and exclusive of the intent of the parties over the matter it covers. It supersedes any previous, contemporaneous, oral or written judgment between the parties with respect to these matters. So anything that happened prior to the date that this was filed, which is July 26, 2007, is superseded by this. Now, this could have contemplated what you say, that the parties agree, despite the fact that you may have a child who's 35 years old and still wants to go to school. You think if your daughter was 35 and still wanted to go to school to get a PhD, that your former wife would be responsible for half?
Not necessarily, but in this circumstance, Your Honor, she did agree after the divorce to continue to pay for half of the expenses of her child.
Tell me when, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Here's a situation where I paid my ex-wife over $3 million, so she has plenty of money to be able to support and take care of her children, and it doesn't seem right.
No, that's not true, sir.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dennis Awad claims ex-wife Sandra Awad owes for half of their daughter's college tuition. Sandra says she doesn't have the money.
Now, other than just paying, tell me when she said, I will continue to pay half of her expenses for as long as she goes to school.
I can't give you an exact date, Your Honor, because it happened multiple times over many years.
I can't help you, sir. I can't help you, sir. There are certain things as being parental and saying, listen, I'm sharing these expenses by sending you a check. That doesn't create a contract. That contemplates a voluntary act on her part. Just as if you say, I'm not paying for this tuition anymore, she can't take you to court and say, listen, he paid for it up until 2008, and then he just stopped. And now she's 23 years old, and she has a year left to go to school. And I shouldn't be responsible for paying all of that. Well, actually, nobody's responsible for paying for all of that.
Well, Your Honor, when we started out, at the time our children were in school, certainly we didn't know we were going to be getting divorced. And if all of a sudden, you know, a child is in school and they need support because they're not independent at that point in time, it is the responsibility of a mother and a father, if they can, to try to assist their children.
Absolutely correct. Just a second, Mr. Rayward. You are absolutely correct. In my judgment, that after a child reaches the age of majority, which is 21 years old, in most places, especially for the purposes of matrimonial actions and college, that it would be lovely if you have a talented child who wants to go pursue higher education, and if you can afford it, to say, I'm the mother, I'm the father, we're both going to contribute to that child's education. I agree with you. That's a moral responsibility if you can afford it.
Right.
It's not a legal responsibility, unless there is a contract that makes it a legal responsibility. Unless she says to you, if you pay the tuition for a daughter, I will reimburse you half of that. And that didn't happen in this case. I don't believe that that's what happened. That's not even what you say happened.
Your Honor, you know, I'm not an attorney, but I do know that over a long period of time that what we had is multiple emails, many times when both Sandra and I would agreeing to pay 50-50 share for not only their tuition, but for their expenses, their housing, all different types of things. And the children knew this, and they depended upon that. And they knew that their parents were trying to take care of them. And it would only seem...
That's a moral responsibility, sir. And it's a responsibility, if you can continue to do that for an adult child who's over 21, in this case your daughter's 23, then you're absolutely right. If you can do it, fine. But it's not a matter that can be resolved in a court. You don't have a contract with her. If your daughter wants to continue to attend school and you can afford it, and your former wife feels as if she can't afford to pay for her continued education anymore, let your daughter take out loans and pay them back when she graduates, like a lot of other people do.
Yes, I understand that, Your Honor, but here's a situation where I paid my ex-wife over $3 million, so she has plenty of money to be able to support and take care of her children, and it doesn't seem right.
No, that's not true, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
How many children do you have?
4.
What kind of work did your wife do when you were living together and raising 4 children?
She was a housekeeper.
She was a housekeeper for
the children.
I was a housewife.
Just a second. For the children? She didn't work outside the home.
That's correct.
And you had a business?
Yes.
And enough of a business so that she was able to, when you divorced, have a piece of money. How long was she home with the children, raising your 4 children?
Well, her, along with the maid that she had, was for quite a while, Your Honor.
Just a second.
Okay.
Maid that you had.
Well, okay.
A maid that you had.
That we mutually had.
That's better.
Okay, I understand that.
That's better.
Okay, I don't disagree with that.
That's better. Let's say your wife got $3 million in the divorce decree. Did she get that in a lump sum?
Yes.
And you took that as a deduction on your tax returns as the following year?
No, I don't think so.
Really? Didn't have any tax benefit, and she got $3 million clean without paying any taxes on it?
I don't know exactly how the tax consequences were, but...
Let's say that's what she has. And all the time she was at home, she was honing no skills and not involved in a business. Let's say she invests that money, and she's fortunate enough to invest that $3 million at 4% interest, right?
Right. She'd make $120,000 a year.
Absolutely right. How much did you file taxes for that you earned last year? File taxes last year. You have a business?
Yes, I do.
Are you remarried?
No.
You filed tax returns in April?
Yes.
How much did you earn?
About $100,000.
What does that mean, about 100? I know exactly up to the quarter. Ask CBS how much I earn. To the quarter, I know. What do you mean you earn about $100,000?
Your Honor, I don't know exactly how much it is.
You don't have the case, Mr. Rayward. You want to continue to pay for your 23-year-old daughter's education? She wants to go for a master's. She wants to go for a doctorate. And if you can afford to pay it, fine. And if you can't, tell her, sweetheart, you have to take out loans. You're a big girl now. You're over 21. I can't do it myself. And your mother, at her stage and age in life, cannot afford to dip into her principal that she's going to have to live off for the rest of her life. How old are you?
56.
hard to retrain, especially in today's economy. Do we understand each other, sir?
I understand.
Perfect. Goodbye.
All right, excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Yeah, it's case number 145 on the calendar in the matter of Birchler versus Baker.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Birchler, it is your claim that the defendant who used to be your boyfriend owes you money for a loan for bail and then a loan for some car repairs. Mr. Baker says there was never any agreement to pay you back, so there was no contract. Is that right, sir?
Yes, it is.
When were you arrested?
February 12th, 2009.
And what were you arrested for?
Driving on suspended. And I got picked up because she was on her way to work. And
just a second. You were arrested for driving with a suspended...
But I had a warrant.
You had a warrant?
Yeah.
For what?
For driving on suspended. And we were on our way to...
We're going to do this my way, sir. I know that it might confuse you, but I like to do things in a linear fashion. You were arrested on February 12th, 2009. 9 or 2010?
Probably 10. 10.
And the warrant that you were arrested on was because you had been driving without a license.
That's correct.
And you were supposed to appear in court?
Yeah, and I missed my date.
Why did you miss your date?
I didn't know which day it was, and I didn't make it to it.
You don't know what year it is?
Yeah.
So it's not surprising to me you didn't know what day it was. How long were you in jail when they arrested you on February 12th?
4.5 days.
For not having a driver's license?
Well, I had other warrants, too.
Right. Mr. Baker, we got enough aggravation in this country. We don't feed people 3 squares a day because they were driving on a suspended license. What were your other warrants for, sir?
I had 2 driving on suspended, no insurance, and seatbelt, and then tail light, and that's it.
From how many different traffic stops?
3.
And you forgot all 3 dates, Mr. Baker, that you were supposed to be in court?
Yeah.
You must be a very, very busy man, running a very busy company.
Work a lot.
Doing what?
Well, now I'm going to do construction, but back then I was standing on the side of the road waving to people, Liberty Tax, and dancing.
You were standing on the side of the road waving at people for what?
For Liberty Tax. It's an income tax place. You get your taxes done there. That was just a part-time job.
And what were you doing with the rest of your time?
I was doing construction now, but back then, that's all I was doing.
Who were you living with?
My parents.
So you weren't doing much of anything. So there was no reason why you didn't go to court for these tickets.
I just missed my dates. Stupid mistake.
And Miss Birch put up $500 towards your bail, right?
She felt sorry for me.
Well...
Because it was her fault I went to jail.
It was? Shh. Why don't you try to explain to me the best way you can why it's her fault that you went to jail?
I would have never went to jail if we would have never gotten that little argument, and she smacked me in my face. And then when she smacked me, I threw my hands up, and Mountain Dew went all over, and we were yelling at each other, and then I got out the car and tried to calm the situation down.
And tried to what?
Calm the situation down, make it better.
So you got out of the car after this argument.
Yeah.
And?
I started jogging to work because we were like a mile away from my work. She was supposed to drop me off.
So you were running away from the car?
Yeah, well, I was going to my job.
So you were running away from the car, and what happened?
Security guard saw the whole scene and picked me up.
Police picked you up?
Yeah.
So that's why it was her fault you got arrested and the warrants dropped on you?
I would never got arrested. We would never got in that fight. She would just drop me off my work. The whole situation would be prevented.
So it's her fault?
Pretty much, yeah.
Whose fault is it that you skipped your court dates?
That's my fault, but...
Whose fault is it that you got the tickets?
My fault, but...
Whose fault is it that you didn't have a seatbelt on?
Mine.
Whose fault is it that you were driving twice with a suspended license?
That'd be mine, too.
Well, why does somebody else have to pay for what you did wrong?
Because I wouldn't have got picked up.
Where do you live?
Independence.
Independence,
Missouri.
Missouri? You think that the police in Independence are that stupid that they'd never pick you up on a warrant?
They'd have to find me first.
What's the motto of Missouri?
Live free or die? Show me.
Show me.
Show me state.
Show me state.
The show me state. I knew it was something that I would like. Okay, she put up the bail for you?
Yeah.
And how did she know where you were?
When I was in jail, I called my dad, and she was over at my house. He texted her to tell her that I wanted to talk to her, and she came over to my house.
She came over to your house, and when you called, what did you say to her?
I said hi, and she said hello, And then I asked her. Then I asked her if she would help me out, and she was like,
Would help
blah,
you
blah.
out how?
Well, I was stuck in jail and I needed $1,400, and she just got her income tax. So she was like, well, we got talking. She said she was sorry for smacking me, which that's how I figured I got in there. That's the whole time I was thinking that.
Mr. Baker, you got put in jail because you were irresponsible and you had been breaking the law and you had been thumbing your nose at the court system by not showing up for your court dates. That's why you were in jail.
That's not true.
Oh, Mr. Baker, there's one thing to be stupid and there's another thing to appear to be stupid. Don't combine the two. You were in jail because you broke the law, and then you thumbed your nose at the court system by saying, I'm not going to court. And you didn't do that once, you did that 3 times. That's why you were in jail. You weren't in jail because she slapped you. You were in jail because you broke the law. Now do you understand?
No.
There's your combination.
Look, that's a pretty powerful combo.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do I look like a smart lady to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? I look like a smart lady from you? Do you trust me?
Yes.
And later today,
If you're trying to be charming with me, trust me, it's not going to work. Better looking and richer people than you have tried to charm me without success.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Catherine Birchler says ex-boyfriend Ryan Baker owes for bail money and attorney fees after he was arrested on an outstanding warrant.
Okay. What do you do, Miss Birchler?
I work at a call center.
You work full-time?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been working full-time?
Since February 15th.
And how old are you?
20.
Did you work prior to that?
Yes, I worked at Macy's.
Worked there for a while?
A couple months. It was a part-time contingent job.
You live at home?
I have my own house. Well, complex.
It's a duplex,
I do.
but...
Yes, it's a duplex. I'm sorry.
You pay rent?
Yes.
You drive a car?
Yes.
You pay insurance?
It's already paid. Yes, ma'am.
You buy your own clothes?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't need him.
I understand that.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're too young to be desperate. Do you know what I mean? Pretty young 20-year-old who works hard and supports herself.
And my son.
Not desperate. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay. Other than the $500 for bail, what does he owe you for, Miss Birchler?
About a week after I got my tax returns, he asked me if I would help him fix his car, and he said he needed to pay lawyers. I thought that's what I was understanding the money was for. So I told him he could borrow $300 as long as he promised to pay it back.
That's a lie. She didn't let me borrow it.
I don't want to hear you unless I'm looking at you and asking you a question.
This was on March 1st, and I said, as long as you pay me back $700 by...
Where was he supposed to get $700 from?
He was working, and he told me he'd give me his whole entire checks, that he wouldn't keep any of the money. So I was under the impression he might actually pay me back. So I gave him the $300 to help fix his car.
How much did he pay you back?
All in all, he paid about $100 back.
What do you mean about $100? What does that
Well, I mean, he would help me around my house.
I didn't pay her nothing.
Okay.
Didn't pay her anything?
No. And I didn't have a job when she gave me that $300. I was in jail and I lost my job.
So what did you need $300 more for from
to get
Ms.
my
Birchler?
fuel pump and a key ignition made? Because my ex-girlfriend, of course, I got a new girl after I got out of jail, and she was texting her about getting my car fixed. She lost my key.
I don't care. There must be lots of desperation there in Missouri. Stay away from him.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Stay away from him. Don't make any children with him. Don't get involved with him. Do I look like a smart lady to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? I look like a smart lady from you? Do you trust me?
Yes.
You escaped. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I'm quite pleased.
I didn't like it at all.
He had his new girlfriend, text me and let me know that he would not be paying back the money and that I needed to get over myself.
She was texting her, and then after I got the car fixed, she called my phone, and then my girlfriend picked it up and was talking to her.
She called me after that and told me I was a few choice words and that he would not be paying me back.
She didn't ask for any of the money until after I got a new girl.
Not date guys like him.
Don't talk to crazy girls like that.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Van Buskirk versus Shook. Step forward.
Wendy Van Buskirk is suing her former friend, 23-year-old Jonathan Shook, for unpaid rent, bail money, and a loan to buy an engagement ring.
Miss Van Buskirk, the defendant, according to you, was a young man that you took into your house. He was a friend of your son's. He had no place to go. You opened up your home. You took him in, and according to you, he owes you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
Claim he owes you some money for rent. This is not a major deal. But that you loaned him some money to buy an engagement ring.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want that money back.
Yes.
In addition, you bailed him out of jail in the amount of $200. What were you arrested for?
Having kitchen knives, basically deadly concealed weapon.
A concealed weapon.
A couple of them, yes.
Where do you live?
Waldorf, Maryland right now.
Where had you been living with the plaintiff?
It's Brandywine, Maryland.
In Maryland?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you move in with her?
I'd say right before the winter of 2008, I believe. I'm not exactly sure.
And where is her son now? You were a friend of her son's.
Right now, in jail in not Ocean City, but Atlantic City.
How long has he been in jail?
About a month.
What is your son in jail for?
Assaulting a police officer.
A couple other things.
Couple other things. I'm not exactly sure, but it's...
Well, he didn't start out just walking up to a police officer and assaulting him. It had to be...
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
And I assume he's incarcerated pre-trial.
Yes.
Does he have bail?
Yes.
How much is his bail?
$1,000.
Did he ask you to bail him out?
Yes, he did.
And why didn't you?
Well, it started off at $7,800. It's been reduced to $1,000, and unfortunately, I didn't have the money at first, and I plan on getting him out this Friday.
What was your rental arrangement with the plaintiff?
Well, when I moved in at first, nothing. I didn't have a job. I had nothing, but it...
How old are you?
I'm 23 right now.
How do you make a living? How do you support yourself?
I detail cars right now, and I actually just got a job doing telecommunications.
And what kind of work was her son doing?
At the time, when I moved in, nothing at all.
What did you borrow money from her for?
I didn't.
Did you buy your girlfriend a ring?
Yes, I did.
Where'd you get the money from?
I paid part of it, and she said she was going to give me the rest as a gift to help me out.
How much did she pay?
I'm not exactly sure the exact numbers, but I paid for about half.
The ring was $629.99, and the warranty for the ring was $74.99.
What kind of warranty did you get on a ring?
The warranty is for, you have to take in every 6 months for cleaning, replacing the diamond if it gets lost.
That's some... I won't say that. I'll hear from all the jewelers if I say that that warranty is a ripoff.
Oh, it is.
So I don't want to hear from any jewelers out there. Don't write to me. Don't say bad things. I don't understand a $75 warranty on a ring.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What were you doing obstructing traffic?
Trying to get my dog out the road at first, and then I dropped knives in the road, so I was going back to pick up knives, and then when the cops pulled up, I threw them on the road, and they still arrested me for them.
I'm staying in Greenwich.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Wendy Van Buskirk says former friend Jonathan Shook owes for rent, bail money, and a loan for an engagement ring.
Okay. Did he put anything towards the ring?
3 payments of $45, Your Honor.
That's not true. I gave her like $300 up front.
No, he did
And then
not.
I made the payments of $45, and then she said the rest was a gift.
If you don't have money, you don't buy a ring.
Well, I understand that.
Well, you shouldn't have bought it.
I had the money that she wanted.
You didn't have the money.
And then she said the rest was a gift.
You didn't have the money.
Not on me.
If you have $300 and you want to buy a ring, find a ring for $300.
That's why
If you had $400...
Find a ring for $400.
I don't think you're cute, as a matter of fact.
I understand.
I just want you to understand that. If you're trying to be charming with me, but trust me, it's not going to work.
No.
Better looking and richer people than you have tried to charm me.
I believe it. I believe it.
Without success.
Oh, I believe it.
That didn't require a response.
Okay.
Try taking the hair out of your eyes. You'll see the world better.
All right.
Ma'am.
Don't speak.
Sorry.
Now, when you were arrested, you had a phone call to make.
Yeah.
Who'd you call?
Called a couple people just to let them know I was locked up, and then next thing I know, I was out of jail.
You never called the plaintiff?
Never talked to her.
How did you find out he was in jail?
Through my daughter-in-law, Nicole.
Through your daughter-in-law?
Yes.
This child is married to your son who's incarcerated?
No. No.
To another son?
Yes.
Okay. How did you find out he was in jail?
I was with him when he got arrested.
What were you all doing?
We were walking down the side of the road trying to keep him from going inside the road.
Explain that to me. Look at me when you explain it to me.
He was just upset, and...
He was upset about what?
I don't exactly remember about what. Something that was stressing him out, and he was just walking in and out of one of the main roads, so we were just walking next to him, making sure he didn't get hurt. Me, Johnny, and a friend of his that was with us.
So he was trying to walk in traffic?
He was just walking in the road. We were walking on the side of the road. He just happened to walk in the road. We were just walking with him down the side of the road. And the cops ended up coming up saying that he was impeding traffic, and he had a whole bunch of knives on him.
Was he high on drugs?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Well, probably was high on drugs or something if he was impeding traffic. And then they searched him and found these concealed weapons?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, terrific. Now, what did he say when he called you? I assume he called you from jail?
Well, he called Wendy from jail.
Called her?
Yes.
Good. Sit down. She says he called you from jail.
He begged me to get him out of jail. I have a receipt for bail and the bail.
How long were you in jail, Mr. Shoup?
Like 8, 9 hours. Not even that long. They, when I'm PG County out in Maryland, they let you out the next morning, or I'd have been let out that night when they paid my bail, but I never...
You used drugs, Mr. Shoup?
Used to.
What was your drug of choice, sir?
Marijuana.
What else?
That's it.
Were you high on the day you were arrested?
Nah, I've been clean for like 3 years, 4 years now, actually.
Then what were you doing obstructing traffic?
Trying to get my dog out the road at first, and then I dropped knives in the road. They were in a box, and I dropped the box to go chase after the dog in the road. There you go. Once I got the dog back, I went to go get the knives out the road, and that's when the state trooper pulled up. And I was walking down the road, and he didn't lock me up that day, he locked me up the next day. It was a confusing situation, and then they dropped the charges after it all was done and over with, so it just didn't make no sense.
I'm staying in Greenwich.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Okay. Did you call her and ask her to bail you out of jail?
No, ma'am. I don't even know the house number to call her.
You used to live there. How long did you live there?
About 1.5 years, but I never used the house phone. I have a cell phone.
You have 10 seconds to tell me about rent, because I'm not actually interested. Go!
He paid $100 a month prior to moving out. He didn't pay for 3 months.
When did you move out of the house?
I'd say around October of last year. I just couldn't stay there no more. And she had said something about, you know, getting the couches and everything out of there, which I didn't understand. It was not my problem. You know, it's her son's bedroom, and we both brought the couches in, and why do I have to take the couches out of the room? If they were his couches, he's the one that got bought.
Just give her the money for the ring and your bail. $495 for the ring and $200 for your bail. Perfect. Take your hair away from your eyes. Go to the barber. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Yeah, it's case number 94 on the calendar in the matter of Martella versus Tafoya.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Martella, who is this young man?
This is my son, Vance.
How old is he?
18.
Was he present during any of these incidents?
Yes, he was.
How many children do you have?
3.
How old are they?
My daughter, Sarah, is 20. He's 18, and my youngest is 10 months.
10 months?
Yes.
And how many children do you have?
Ma'am, only one.
The child that you have with the plaintiff?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you and the plaintiff have a relationship, sir?
Ma'am, about 2 months.
Is that right, Miss Martella?
No.
How long was your relationship?
About 2 years.
Was it an exclusive relationship for you?
Yes.
And what about for you?
No.
How old are you?
31.
And how old are you, Miss Martella?
43.
This is your claim. You have a 10-month-old child who I understand that you participate with and see. You claim that during a period where he was watching the child, you came home, you smelled marijuana in the house, you had an argument with him, and he assaulted you. Subsequently, when your child was hospitalized briefly because she has certain physical disabilities, there was another confrontation at the parking lot of the hospital, and the defendant says that you actually were the violent one, that you damaged his property. So let me understand something, Miss Martella. Why would you have another child with a young man who is 12, 13 years your junior?
It just happened. I never did a younger man before. He was pursuing me, and we started out as friends. He was supposed to come over and show me how to do something on my computer with eBay, and one thing led to another, and it just happened.
So for the time you knew each other, how much of that time were you just friends?
I'd given him my number a couple months prior to that, and he used to text me. And then after a couple of months, I answered his text, and then I was at a picnic, and he was there. And
so how long did you actually date?
About a year, year and a half.
Well, now we're talking about from 2 years, it's down to a year. He says it was a couple of months. All right, tell me about this first incident. When was it?
It was on February 2nd. I had come home from work, and when I came in the house, it smelled like marijuana. And I did get upset. We got in an argument. My son was in the living room. I saw that he was getting a little more upset, so I went into my room, and he came to my door and asked me to open the door, and I told him no. And I said, you need to leave. Just go be with Sarah, because I knew he was seeing this girl, Sarah. And I said, just go with Sarah. Leave me alone. I said, I'm upset. So then he goes, I'm going to kick your door in. And then that's when I heard my son come up behind him, and he said, you kick that door, I'm going to kick you. And I heard him say, okay. And I thought he had left, so I was listening at the door, and I didn't hear him, so I opened the door, and then he had come back in, and
he came in where?
Back into the house. And then we continued to fight, and he pushed me on the bed, and then he hit me in the ribs, and he saw my phone, and he thought I had some spy thing, my phone spying on his phone calls, because I knew about the girl Sarah, and he picked up my phone and he broke it.
And where was your son all this time?
He was in the living room at first, but then I heard him behind him saying, you kick the door, I'm going to kick you.
Well, I heard that already. My question was, where was he when all this was going on?
He was in
oh, yeah? Stand. Your name?
Vance Leia.
Vance. Go. February 2nd.
I was there, and Donnie had went over to my mom's bedroom. They were having a fight, and he kicked the door.
Before they had a fight, who was taking care of the baby?
My mother was.
No, she wasn't home. She was working.
Oh, sorry. Donnie was. Yes.
Donnie was. And what were you doing?
I was just on the couch reading my book.
And he had been taking care of the baby for how long?
Since my mom left for work in the morning.
Did he take good care of the baby?
No.
Did you call your mother and tell her that he wasn't taking good care of the baby?
I had texted her.
And what did you say when you texted her?
I said, this idiot's not watching the baby at all.
That's what you said. This idiot's not watching the baby at all.
Yes.
Did she answer your text, Vance?
No, she didn't answer my text, but
didn't
then she
answer
came
your
home.
text. She didn't say to you, like a normal mother, if he's not taking care of the baby, then you should take care of your sister?
Well, I checked in on her every once in a while.
What do you mean you checked in on her every once in a while?
I just walked in there like every hour or so.
And what was he doing?
He was on the computer that was in the room.
The computer in what room?
In my mother's room.
Now, your mother says she came home and she smelled marijuana. You didn't mention anything to me about somebody smoking marijuana.
Well, later on in the day, I smelled marijuana, but we also have skunks.
No, you didn't mention that to me at all, Vance. And you said that you texted your mother later on in the day when you said, this idiot's not watching the baby. The first thing I would have texted is, this idiot is smoking dope in the house and is not watching the baby. But you didn't say that, Vance.
Well, because we have skunks in the area, and it smells just like skunk weed, which he buys and smokes in the house. So I didn't know if it was skunk weed or a skunk.
I'm not buying this story. Do you understand? I'm not buying that part of your story.
Your Honor, I know the marijuana had to have been smoked within 15 minutes because it smelled when I hit the door.
Maybe he smoked it.
No, my son doesn't smoke marijuana. Anyway, I wouldn't have gotten that upset. I started an argument with him. I smelled marijuana, and that was what our fight was about. I told him, you need to leave. My daughter had a heart condition. Why would he be smoking marijuana in my house with my daughter having a heart condition?
Just a second. He didn't see him smoking marijuana. He didn't text you about marijuana. Listen to me very carefully. He didn't. Now you can sit.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I texted him, you're heartless and cruel. I didn't write nothing on no mirror. I'm not no crazy woman like he's explaining. I did snap the one time when I smelled the marijuana. I did snap.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathy Martella says ex-boyfriend Donald Tafoya owes for destroying her belongings and 2 assaults. Donald is countersuing for damage to his truck.
Okay, so he came back into the house and did what?
He came back in and started yelling at me, calling me names again. I told him to leave. I was trying to shut the door, but he kept pushing in. We just kept fighting. I mean, that's just basically what it's been ever since he started using again. And he came in, we started fighting. He pushed me on the bed, and I told him to go with Sarah's. I knew he was seeing this girl named Sarah because of the computer.
When did you find out that he was seeing Sarah? There's a question on the floor.
Around January 1st or 2nd.
And how did you find out he was seeing a girl named Sarah?
Because he left his MySpace up on my computer one day on his message thing, and it was messages to different girls. Sarah was one of them.
And
I confronted him about it.
Well, they weren't seeing each other anymore in January.
Your Honor, we had an agreement at the beginning when they told me my daughter was going to be born with a heart defect. They told me that it wasn't going to be a one-man job. And we had a talk, and we decided we were going to put our lives aside, and we were going to take care of our daughter. So we agreed to have her, and we had her. And from that point on, it's just been one incident after another after another. And I told him I couldn't have him at my house this way because I was too emotionally involved. And I couldn't have that going on in my house.
It wasn't going on in the house. He wasn't bringing women to your house, was he?
I told him I didn't want to put up with with the lies and all that stuff. Just leave it alone. He kept telling me, no, my daughter means more to me. It's just, I believed him. It was my fault. I believed him.
You weren't together.
We were together. He's the one who's saying we weren't together. We were together when it was convenient for him.
He's 30 years old. You're 43. You have 2 grown children. He has nobody. He may be a fool. He may be an idiot. He may be a drug addict. You are a grown woman with grown children who should know better. You know, and then you want him to put life on hold to take care of a sick baby.
Well, our personal lives, not our...
I'm talking about your personal lives.
We wanted to go, we're both in college. We both wanted to get through the semester, get through the surgery until she recovered, and then help take care of her, because she couldn't leave the house, Your Honor. There had to be 24-hour care there.
What else?
The incident on March 10th is when my daughter had surgery, and I hadn't seen him the whole month before. And he showed up at the hospital under the influence.
Who told you that she was having surgery?
I knew about the date beforehand of the surgery was going to be. She tried to withhold it from me, actually, because she didn't want me to be there. I love my daughter, and it's really hard.
Just a second. So you showed up at the hospital. What time did you get there?
Early in the morning. I was going to go on the drive truck over there. I have a big truck. But she offered to actually pick me up and take me over there. And she picked me up at my grandmother's early in the morning, so I don't know how she's saying that I was under the influence of the hospital.
Just a second. She picked you up at your grandmother's?
Yes.
So you went to the hospital together?
Yes, we did.
So, Miss Martella, when you went to the hospital on March 10th, how did you get there?
I drove.
Who was in the car with you?
Myself and him.
This is your sworn complaint. Our daughter had heart surgery on March 10th, and Donald was nowhere to be found. He eventually showed up at the hospital, but he was drunk.
He showed up.
No. You picked him up. You didn't say that. You picked him up in the morning.
We were at his grandmother's house.
I'm talking to you about what you wrote in your complaint. What you wrote in your complaint was he showed up at the hospital later drunk. That's not true. You picked him up with your daughter and went to the hospital together.
He had left the hospital. He left the hospital on the Metrolink, came back under the influence. He had been using the whole time. I told him he could not be at the hospital loaded, and he had to go back to his grandmother's and get clean before he was going to be there. He went to his grandmother's supposedly, but he wasn't. He was out all night getting loaded.
On what date did you have this conversation?
Like 4 or 5 days.
Hey.
Like 4 or 5 days before the surgery, his grandmother called me and asked me to bring the daughter.
Listen to me. Your story, when I read your complaint, didn't make sense to me.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Well, it didn't make sense to me. You tell me one lie, and I don't believe the rest.
I didn't tell you a lie.
You did.
He left the hospital.
Listen to me. You didn't say he came with you, and then he left, and he came back drunk. What you said was he eventually showed up, but he showed up drunk. He was nowhere to be found. Finish your story.
Okay, so we went to the hospital, and it was time for her to get released. It was March 17th, actually, because she was in there for a week. They told me what I needed to do, that she was ready to be discharged. I had to go get her prescriptions, and I had to go get the stroller. I asked him to go get the prescription while I went to get the stroller, and he said, don't do it yourself. So I was walking down to my car to get the stroller. He's walking down behind me, calling me names. We're arguing like his MO because he wants to go take off. He didn't want to go back and take care of her. So I said, just please leave me alone. Let me just get her stuff. So I started getting her stuff. He starts pulling stuff out of the back seat, acting crazy because he was loaded. And then he started throwing my stuff across the parking lot. He kicked my purse. I went to go get my purse. He grabbed me by my ponytail and pulled me down to the ground. And that's when I started calling for security.
That's not what you say in your complaint. What you say in your complaint was this whole incident happened on March 10th, not March 17th. You say that this happened when he came to the hospital on the date of your daughter's surgery and he was drunk. Now you tell me it had nothing to do with March 10th.
Well,
that was March 7th. No, that was March 17th, a different date. Go ahead, sir. Let me hear February 2nd.
To tell you the truth, ma'am, Vance wasn't even there. And if what he's saying is true...
What kind of drug problem do you have?
You know, I haven't done drugs for over 2 years.
What kind?
That's a lie.
If you open your mouth again, I'm just going to dismiss your case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I suggest that if you are not currently under some sort of psychiatric care, you get yourself there.
Ex-boyfriend Donald Tafoya purposely damaged her property and assaulted her on 2 separate occasions.
What kind of drugs had you used?
I had a marijuana problem, and I had a serious drinking problem, and I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I got help in Narcotics Anonymous, and that's where I met Kathy, because Kathy is also a recovering addict. You know, I mean, she had more time, and, you know, I really actually admired her when I met her. I thought she was a really strong woman in recovery. I didn't see her anger and jealous side. And as time went on, actually, you know, I ended up staying over there.
February 2nd.
Okay, February 2nd, man. I was there. I woke up with the baby in the morning. Kathy always seemed to make it as a package deal. Like, if you're going to mess with any girls at all, you can't see your daughter at all. And I would kind of, you know, I would manipulate it a little bit, I'll be honest with you, because I wanted to see more better on my daughter. And it was like, if I'm not exclusive to Kathy and I'm messing with anybody else, I can't see my daughter, and she goes into a rage. Anyways, I actually texted her because she has a cousin who's an active addict right now, and she lives at the house, right? And I actually...
She lives at whose house?
At the same house. It's actually her brother's house.
Does she live at the house with the plaintiff?
Yes. And she actually, you know, I smell marijuana. I texted her about that, and she...
What did you say in the text?
I said, I smell marijuana, and it kind of concerned me because my daughter was there, and I was really, really upset about the marijuana thing.
Lying, Your Honor. My cousin doesn't even smoke cigarettes. She doesn't smoke marijuana. He was smoking the marijuana. My son does not smoke marijuana.
Listen, you don't know any of that. You weren't home.
He's the one that smelled like marijuana. My son didn't smell like marijuana.
I don't believe you, Miss Martella.
And he never texts me. My son texts me, Mom, you need to come home. My son did not text me.
Miss Martella, I don't believe you.
He was getting high the whole time. I didn't know this at the time, Your Honor. I did not know. He was the one.
You want to tell me about your counterclaim?
Yes, ma'am. On that same day, actually...
Which day?
On the 2nd. Actually, what happened was she ran outside. She's always one of those people like, get out of here, leave. And then when I'm trying to leave, she'll run out and chase the car and say, why are you leaving? You don't want to take care of your daughter. But she'll tell me to leave. This is a situation that has been going on the whole time.
Just tell me what happened on the 2nd.
Okay, she actually ran out. I have the evidence right here. Is that she ran out and pulled the spark plug wires from under my truck. I have a lifted truck, right? It's very high, right? And if you reach under the wheel well, you could like pull the wires out. And she didn't want me to leave, and I seen her coming from underneath the truck, and she pulled the 3 wires out on this side.
You didn't see her pull the wires out?
I seen her under my truck. So on the very next day, which is on there 2-3, I took this to La Puente Auto Care, and they did a diagnostic, and it says right here, customer advised spark plug wires 1, 3, and 7 were hanging off, were not attached to the spark plugs. And muffler was also damaged by vehicle backfiring, and it was $500.02. You can see this picture right here. My house where I live, it was real easy to walk inside my house. This is Glendora, California. It's a real safe community by Sierra Madre. The doors are open. That's just why we do it, you know, over there. It's a pretty trustworthy area. And she went in my room, and I found this on my mirror when I was out with Sarah. She wrote, "You're cruel and heartless. I hate you."
Can I see it, please?
And
with this girl, Sarah, told me he was with one of his hiking buddies, and he was at the hospital. He said, come to my house, and he was crying, and so I went to his house, and I'm outside. I text him, and he's, oh, I'm at the hospital, and I said, well, we're here, we're outside. I thought you said you were done. My daughter started crying. I said, you know what, your daughter's crying. I'm going to go in the house, and I'm going to change her. So I took her in the room. I changed her diaper. I texted him, you're heartless and cruel, and I left. I didn't write nothing on no mirror. I'm not no crazy woman like he's explaining. I did snap the one time when I smelled the marijuana. I did snap because my daughter was having heart surgery. I just couldn't imagine anybody doing that. He was the one that smelled like marijuana. When he was pulling me, when he punched me, I smelled marijuana on him, not on anybody else. And
it's over. Listen to me. It's over. You had a child that you shouldn't have had. And it's going to be actually your responsibility and your burden if she has problems.
I know from now on it will be.
Have you ever had a paternity test?
No.
Is not an answer.
No, ma'am.
I suggest you do that.
She was a pretty virtuous woman in my eyes, to tell you the truth. I never even questioned it because I don't think she sleeps around.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I should never thought about it that way.
I don't know.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to JudgeJudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
How often do you see your daughter?
You know, it's like if I'm not getting along with her, I can't see her. So I have to really kiss. I have to kiss her kind of like similar language. I have to kiss up to her really, really bad, or she won't let me see her at all. And then she said,
That is not true,
and
Your
she
Honor.
says I'm not taking care of my responsibility
such a liar.
because I'm not there. But she said that if I'm not like really like all like on her, she won't let me see my daughter.
Your Honor, I don't want anything to do with this man. We broke up in December. I found out on January 1st I was pregnant. I was common decency to tell him. I never call him. I don't go to his house. He shows up at my house. He shows up at my work and calls me crying, telling me he's gonna commit suicide. He doesn't come visit her. He doesn't want to visit her. And when he's there, he just looks at her sitting in the chair. He tells my daughter to shut up.
Never,
and I'm gonna get eaten.
never happened.
No, you're lying.
Never happened.
He tells my daughter to shut up because he's an idiot.
What kind of drugs had you used, Miss Martella?
Meth, the same he used.
When was the last time both of you were drug tested?
I actually, because of the course going on, I go to a sober living house that I used to live at, and I pay them $6 a test, and I have them test me.
Blood or urine?
Urine.
When was the last time either of you had blood tests?
Never.
Just when the baby was born. Oh, I had like 3 or 4 done. That's how they found out that she was going to have Down syndrome, was through my blood test.
Amnio, same thing.
No, it wasn't the amnio.
No.
It was not the amnio. He doesn't even know.
Miss Martella, I suggest that if you are not currently under some sort of psychiatric care, you get yourself there.
Agreed.
You get yourself there.
Okay.
You need it. You chose a young guy.
Your Honor, you make it
Listen
sound
to
like
me.
that. I haven't talked to this man.
You chose a young guy to be involved with, and you didn't take sufficient care so that you wouldn't have a problem. If he is, as you say, totally irresponsible with regard to his...
Your Honor, I have tried to make police reports.
How do you try to make police reports?
Because you pull your fire car.
Your case is dismissed. So's your counterclaim.
Party judge, excuse me. Let's step up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Back with you.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Yes, case number 170 on the calendar in the matter of Maroney versus Augusti Castro.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Maroney, it is your claim that you made a loan to the defendant some time ago. It was a substantial loan that you paid back some, but then stopped repaying the loan. You want the balance, which is somewhat more than this court's maximum of $5,000, but you're prepared to settle for that. Ms. Castro says that while she acknowledges this alleged loan, she says that you forgave the balance of the loan. Now, who is this?
My husband.
Could you
and
stand
he's a
up?
witness.
Stand up. How long have you and the defendant been married, Mr. Castro?
18 years.
I'm not speaking to you. How long?
18 years.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Castro?
Now I disabled.
What's the nature of your disability?
Back problem
How long have you had back problems?
since 1990.
How long have you been on disability?
Since 1991.
So you have chronic back problems for which you receive disability. How much do you receive?
Around 1,300.
A month.
Yes.
What kind of work does your wife do?
Real estate and doing readings.
And what?
Doing readings.
Real estate and what, Miss Castro?
I own a consignment store.
Consignment?
Consignment store.
What kind?
Antiques and...
Furniture, clothes, what kind of consignment?
Furnitures and paintings and lamps.
Oh, I'm going to love this case, Bird, and you're going to love it.
Okay.
And we're going to get back to this in a minute. Now, Miss Maroney, when did you make this initial loan?
April 24th, 2009, Your Honor.
Tell me about it.
I was in her real estate office, and we had been friends for about 8 years, and she asked me, can I borrow some money from you?
For what?
She didn't specify. But because she's a friend and was a friend and I trusted her, I agreed to lend her the money.
What kind of work do you do? Don't look over there. Look over here.
At that time, I was working at my Elena's store.
Whose store?
My witness, Elena Yorman.
What kind of store does she have?
It's a mystical store, bookstore.
Okay. Now, show me from where you took $10,000. Show me from where you took.
It was from my bank account.
Show me.
Okay.
I want to see it.
I have a copy of the check that I wrote to her with her endorsed signature, and I have a copy of one of the payments that she made to me.
I'm not interested in payment. I'm interested in your bank balance.
Okay. I also have the canceled checks and 2 police reports also.
You want these police reports?
Sure.
Cool.
I don't know what she's talking about with regard to a police report. Now, According to you, you paid her back some money, right?
I was making payments monthly.
From where?
From my money.
Check or cash?
I gave her checks.
Do you have those checks?
No, I didn't bring them.
Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
Well, I
what?
should have thought about it.
Now, I read your answer. Really interesting.
Yeah.
Miss Castro Bird says that when her husband with a disability went to deliver furniture from her store to Miss Maroney, they messed around a little bit. And because of that, she stopped paying the loan. Do you understand, Mr. Castro?
No.
What I'm suggesting to you, sir, is let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
You say that something happened when you were delivering furniture to Miss Maroney, right?
Yes. Happens all the time when I deliver the furniture.
When you delivered furniture?
Most of the time. She
when
says
you
something
delivered
all the
furniture. I want to know, how heavy was the furniture you were delivering, sir? And how did you manage that with your bad back?
And managed by myself.
You managed by yourself. Sit down,
No, I
Mr.
say
Castro.
don't.
This is
I
like
say
shooting
don't.
fish in a barrel. Sit.
Thank you.
It's a nice business you have going there, Miss Castro. You have a consignment shop, and you have your husband who gets $1,300 a month because he's disabled delivering your furniture. That's great.
Well, he wasn't
I want you to tell you something. I feel terrific about that.
He wasn't delivering furniture.
Hey, yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. Just a second. Miss Castro, do you believe that your husband had an inappropriate sexual relations with the plaintiff?
My husband.
The answer is either yes or no. Do you believe that your husband had an inappropriate sexual relation with the plaintiff? Yes or no?
Inappropriate in what way?
Inappropriate in any way. If he's married to you.
He did
if
have
he's
sex with her.
He did have sex with her.
Yeah, he did.
So why did you stop paying her the loan?
Because after I found out that he had done that, because he went ahead and confessed to me, even though the plaintiff was trying to say that.
Listen to me very carefully. The plaintiff isn't married to you.
I know.
Listen to me. Plaintiff isn't married to you. If he hadn't, she says it was sort of non-consensual.
That's a lie. She got undressed.
I don't want you to
And
speak.
touch his
I
parts.
don't want you to speak when I'm speaking.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I hear you.
want you to put your listening ears on. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
I know.
So listen.
I'm listening.
She's not married to you.
That's right. And I will want to.
You're not paying attention. You're speaking and not paying attention. She's not married to you for 18 years. He's married to you for 18 years.
Yeah.
And if you acknowledge that she gave you money, the fact that he, your husband of 18 years, who collects disability and delivers furniture, had sex with your friend,
Yeah,
does
not
not
my
give
friend.
you,
Hey,
does not give you.
She cannot be my friend.
Just listen to me. Pay attention, Miss Castro. Does not give you license not to repay her the money.
But she told me not to pay her.
Just a second. Do you understand me? Women don't seem to get it.
I get it.
No, you don't get it. I am assuming, for the purpose of this case, that there was a consensual relationship. I want you to be quiet and put on your 2 listening ears.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's a pig and an animal.
I want to tell you something.
And
No. He is, and he's also a scammer, and so are you.
And later today,
we went into her room and we let her know that she shouldn't be afraid of the future. It held bright and beautiful things, and that we were going to purchase a car for her.
Who told her that?
Maroney claims former friend Aida Augusti Castro borrowed money from her and refuses to pay it back.
Madam, I am assuming that it was a consensual relationship. You're speaking. You're not listening. It doesn't give you license not to pay her. What you could do is you could throw him out on the street
I thought about it.
No, not thought. Listen
He
to
was
me.
very close.
Listen to me. Not think about it, Miss Castro. He was the one who took a vow to you, not her.
I know.
Him. This one.
She's an
You see the
immoral
problem? You
person.
see the problem with you, Miss Castro,
And she
is you're not paying attention.
Yeah, I pay attention to you.
Good. When you start to lie like he did in 1990 and started to lie about his disability and who knows what else, lying becomes a habit.
No, he doesn't have a
Lying, do you understand, Mr. Castro?
never lied.
Becomes a habit. You were delivering furniture to her house when this happened. You were-
Furniture, no. At that moment, no. I'm not delivering
At that
furniture.
moment. What are lamps?
That's not furniture, it's lamps.
Were you delivering lamps?
Sure.
Yep. Were you delivering lamps?
Not at the moment, no. I'm fixing lamps.
Were you fixing lamps that you had delivered?
Yes.
Eventually, we get it. You owe her $5,000. Do me a favor, I'm finished with
She's
them.
a pig and an animal.
I want to tell you something.
And
No. He is, and he's also a scammer, and so are you, because
No,
you
I'm
live
not.
on that $1,300 a month, too.
No,
Goodbye.
He doesn't do that.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He lied. She went around saying that he was the one that raped her.
It was not consensual.
That other woman is a pig and an immoral person.
It was a very complicated issue and difficult to prove.
There is no friendship with that woman. There must not be any friendship.
And I'm sorry that I had to lose a friend this way.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Spilkerman versus Melendrez. Step forward, please.
Andy Spilkman is suing his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, Rudy Melendrez, for his share of the vintage Mercedes purchased for his daughter.
Mr. Spilkerman, you have a girlfriend. Is that you?
Yes.
She has a daughter.
Yes.
And you and your girlfriend have lived together for about, according to you, 10 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And her daughter was graduating from high school.
Yes.
This is her daughter's father.
Yes.
According to you, you made an agreement with Mr. Melendrez that he would pay half for a car for his daughter. You would pay the other half as a high school graduation gift.
Yes.
That's what you're suing for.
Yes.
He denies there was that agreement. So I have a few questions. What's the child's name?
The child is Monique.
Tell me when you spoke to him about purchasing a car for Monique.
I don't recall the exact date, Your Honor. It was sometime in June.
Where were you? If you don't recall the exact date, what location were you at?
I had asked Desiree to call Rudy to our home. Our daughter Monique was having a bit of uncertainty.
No. Her daughter.
Her daughter Monique was a little bit...
His daughter.
His daughter. Their daughter was uncertain about her future. We called him over. He and I had a conversation outside of the home about what we were going to say to her.
You stepped outside.
Yes.
What kind of problem did she have as a high school graduate about her future?
She was scared about the future.
Well, what plans had she made after high school?
It was hitting her a little hard. She hadn't really made any plans yet. We knew she was going to go to college.
Well, she can't go to college in June of '09 if she's graduating in June of '09.
Exactly.
And she hadn't applied to college.
She had to do a lot to get through high school, and she pulled it off.
Okay, fine. So you had a conversation with him outside, and is that when the discussion of the car came up?
Yes.
Tell me what you said to him and what he said to you.
I just recall that we discussed getting her a car, and then we went into her room, and all three of us talked with her, and we let her know that she shouldn't be afraid of the future. It held bright and beautiful things, and that we were going to purchase a car for her, her father and I.
Who told her that?
We both did.
Tell me how that came about. You walked into her room.
We walked into her room. She was in her bed. She was feeling a bit down. That's why we had called him over.
I understand that. I want to know how those words came out of both your mouths at the same time, that we're going to purchase you a car.
I just recalled telling her that you're going to graduate, you're going to turn 18, you're going to go to college, we're going to purchase a car for you, and life is going to be good.
And that's what you told her?
Yes.
Fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your problem is you cut him out of the present process. And if you don't see that, I'm prepared to tell you that you did.
I don't
You say,
believe I
hey,
did. Okay.
pay attention.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Andy Spilkman says his girlfriend's ex, Rudy Melendrez, owes for half the cost of a vintage Mercedes purchased for his daughter. Rudy says Andy didn't consult him, so he's not paying.
And then what happened?
And then a car was purchased.
When?
In August.
August of '09?
Yes.
Tell me how that came about.
Monique decided she would like a vintage Mercedes-Benz. I located one. The three of us went to look at it.
Who's three?
Monique, Desiree, and I.
Go ahead.
She liked the car. We went back. Maybe it was a week later.
Who did?
Monique and Desiree and I.
Okay. Now, you went back a week later and?
We purchased the car.
Now, between the time you looked at it with Monique and the week that you went back to purchase it, did you have a conversation with Mr. Melendrez?
I did not.
Well, you I'm asking about. You
no, I did not.
And you went back and you purchased it. The three of you purchased it.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you have a conversation with Mr. Melendrez?
I don't recall. I have a text message that he sent to Desiree in August after we told him we'd purchased the car.
No, I don't want to hear we told him. When did you tell him that you had purchased the car?
I never personally told him. He and I never really communicated. All communication with him was through Desiree or Monique.
Well, that's impossible, sir, because if you wish to establish a verbal contract, since you don't have a contract with Mr. Melendrez in writing, then you had to have had a conversation with him.
Well, the one we had at the home in June, in person and in her room with her.
So what you're telling me, sir, is that's the extent of your conversation with him in June of '09.
Yes.
So let us assume it was your understanding that Mr. Melendrez was going to pay for half of the car.
It was.
I'm not necessarily finding that that was a contract, but let us assume that was your understanding. Let me tell you what your problem is, Mr. Spiegelman. Your problem is you cut him out of the present process. And if you don't see that, I'm prepared to tell you that you did.
I don't believe I did. Okay.
Pay attention. You may not like my answer, but you cut him out of the present process. You spoke to his daughter about what kind of car she wanted. You found the car for her to look at. Instead of calling her father and saying, listen, we're going to buy this car together. Let's go take a look at it together as a family, because you're going to pay for half. You totally excluded him. You went down, saw the car, and liked it. Well, then you had an opportunity to call him and say to him, you know, we saw a car that we liked. Let's go down and look at it together.
Your Honor,
yes.
Those communications, now I couldn't bring her with because she didn't want to be here.
Listen to me, then it didn't happen.
Okay.
If I don't hear it, it didn't happen. You cut him out of the present process with his daughter, and you shouldn't have done that. You understand that? Or you don't?
I understand what you're saying, but there are a lot of other circumstances.
There may have been.
I have email communication with Mr. Melendrez.
Go ahead.
Where when I asked him when he was going to pay me for his half of the car, not to mention the text message proof I have where he states he'll make payments for the car.
Let me see.
Why would he do that?
Let me see.
If there was never an agreed school too?
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so he knew
just
a car was coming.
You took the present process away from him, Mr.
I don't
Spiegelman.
believe I did, Your Honor.
Well, I don't care what you believe. That's why you're here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, you're here for someone older and wiser who's been there, done that, and played that game to tell you that you took him out of the present process.
Did I take the financial responsibility away from him for the 10 years he didn't pay child support and I supported his daughter?
Listen to me. That's her problem.
Yes, it is.
That's not your problem. That's not your problem. All I'm listening to is the car. And I'm telling you that from the perspective of a parent, I'm telling you, it's not nice to say, give me half the money and I'm going to bring the package inside.
Your Honor, he's always involved in everything. He's been to every birthday party she has. He's always invited. He chooses not to attend. I would never leave her father out of anything.
Well, you did. You left him out of picking out the car.
You may think so, but I didn't.
Well, you did. You did. You said the three of us went to look at the car. Then we thought about it.
Well, he didn't want to go.
Okay, well, I don't know whether he didn't want to go or not, so you didn't invite him. Okay, here's the message. Issue it's the fact that the last time you guys discussed anything with me was June. Then you guys make whatever decisions, and then you just say pay.
That's
just a second. That's his email. That's exactly what I'm saying to you.
What about the one from August where he says he's excited about the car, he doesn't have the money on him, and he'll make payments? That was before that text you have there. And there's two texts there where he says he'll make payments. If he never agreed, Your Honor, why would he want to make payments?
Listen, I don't think you had a contract with him, Mr. Spiegelman, so I'm dismissing your case. You're not hearing what I'm saying. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Now it's case number 29 on the calendar in the matter of Lang versus Fennell.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks have a seat.
Miss Lang, how did you find the defendant who was hired to dog sit for your 3 dogs?
He was my massage therapist at the local gym.
Had he ever dog sat for you before?
No.
When did you hire him?
Valentine's Day.
And how long was he supposed to take care of the dogs?
5 nights.
He wasn't sleeping at your house?
Yes, he was.
He was supposed to sleep at your house? And feed them and walk them?
Yes.
And there was an accident in your house because he came in one day and this little guy darted out, ran into the street, and got hit by a car. And you want Mr. Fennell to be responsible for all the vet bills, which were thousands of dollars.
Yes.
On what day was the accident, Miss Lang? Do you know?
It was Monday. We left Sunday, and it was Monday.
So that...
February 15th. And I don't even know, Judge, if that's what happened. I wasn't there, and there's no driver's license, no driver.
That's what he says happened.
That's what he says.
You don't think he hurt the dog on purpose?
I don't know.
Well, that would be ridiculous. You want to take the dog outside, please? Mr. Fennell, what time did you start working on February 14th?
We went there, I went there in the morning, fed the dogs, and then at night refed them. I wasn't supposed to spend the night there. It was just morning and night, feed them, go in, and pet them. And that's what she said she wanted.
No.
That is what she said.
No, he was
okay.
spending the night there.
That wasn't our agreement, but...
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Okay.
On the 15th of February, what time did you get to the house?
We, I don't know the exact time. Me and my mom went to the beach, and...
well, you had to go there in the morning.
Well, yeah, I got there in the morning.
What time did you get there in the morning?
Probably...
Promise not an answer. Stand up, please. You're his mother?
Yes.
Move over there. And your last name is?
Parks.
What time did he get to your house on February 15th?
The 15th, he came probably about 11. We went to the beach.
11 a.m.?
Yep.
Listen to me very carefully. Did you have a discussion about his job dog sitting?
Yes.
What did you talk about on February 15th with regard to his job dog sitting?
That he needed to go and feed the dogs after we returned from the beach.
What time?
Probably about 3, 4 o'clock, somewhere in there.
And after he fed the dogs, where were you going?
Back to my house, and he was going to have dinner at my house.
What time had you fed the dogs, Mr. Fennell, that morning?
Probably 9 or 10, somewhere in there.
And according to your statement, it was your agreement with Miss Lang to feed and walk the dogs twice a day.
No walking. I was supposed to go over there, feed the dogs twice a day. She said go in, pet them. That's about it.
Are you a moron?
No, I'm not.
Who was supposed to walk the dogs?
She has a dog walker that comes once a day.
Are you trying to tell me that this rather intelligent lady was going to let her dogs be walked once a day for 4 days?
Yeah,
Is that what you're telling me?
She actually lets them go to the bathroom in the house. They defecate and urinate all over the house. She told me to leave the urination and the there, and the maid comes once a week to clean it. That is exactly what happened.
No.
It's absolutely disgusting.
No.
I had to go by.
One more no.
Sorry.
And I'm just going to dismiss your case without any... I may dismiss it anyway, but this way you won't get a fair shake.
Right.
Do you understand?
I do.
Your Honor, I had to go get Vicks Vapor Rub to walk into her house. It was absolutely disgusting. The smell was horrific.
How much was she paying you a day?
She was... I got...
No, that requires just an amount, sir. Not looking up at the ceiling. How much were you being paid a day?
$550 for the entire time.
And how many days was that?
I think it was 7 altogether, or 6 or 7.
February 14th to what date?
I don't remember the exact date.
Well, think carefully.
It's in the statement. I don't remember the exact date.
You wrote it in your answer?
Correct.
But you don't remember as you're standing here today? Do you suffer from dementia?
Not at all.
Do you suffer from any other physiological disability.
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
I am 25 years old.
And this happened in 2010.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
How many other dogs have you been involved with that were hit by a car?
None.
Very good. Then you should remember, how many days were you supposed to take care of her dogs? February 14th until when?
6 days, I believe.
The 20th, then.
Well, yeah, the 20th. I don't remember the exact date.
He's an idiot.
Thank you.
I want to tell you something. Not only is he an idiot, but he's an idiot and a liar.
Really?
Yes. He's an idiot and a liar, and I'm going to tell you why. Because nobody hires two people.
Two people?
Shut up. Nobody hires two people, a dog walker and somebody else.
She did.
For five.
An idiot.
Why don't you pay attention to the sentence? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Nobody pays two people, a dog walker and him. And he was getting $100 a day to go into the house, pour food, according to him, twice a day. That's what he said, for $100 a day.
That's correct.
And in addition, pay somebody to walk them once a day.
An idiot might do that.
No, an
They actually
idiot
would.
An idiot would think that someone of my intellect would believe your story. I don't think you went there.
Why do you say that it's not?
I don't think you went there in the morning, sir.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that?
Yes.
Because I'm smart, and because I'm watching your face, and because after 35 years, I can tell when somebody is lying and when somebody's not. And I'm telling you, you didn't go there to feed the dogs. Hey,
what did I do?
Shut up and listen. Before you went to your mother's to pick her up for the beach, you did not go there to feed the dogs at 11 in the morning.
Okay.
Because then you wouldn't have gone back there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's ridiculous and stupid. Now, if you said to me, I went there at 8 o'clock in the morning and I let them out, and I let them out at 6 in the evening, and then she has somebody else who comes at 12 o'clock to walk them, I may say, you know what? That may be normal. But that's not what you did. You slept probably until 10 o'clock. Then you went and picked up your mother and said, now I got to go feed the dogs. But that's not what you said happened. You said that you went there and fed the dogs before you went to pick up your mother. That's a lot of baloney. You went there once at 3 o'clock.
I went there twice.
I don't believe you. How's that?
That's fine.
And I don't believe your story. That doesn't mean you're necessarily responsible for what happened to the dogs. It just means you're an irresponsible idiot. But so is she.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My children could at least tell me if somebody was doing something wrong to them. Your dogs can't tell you. This idiot only showed up once every 2 days to feed me.
And later today,
She couldn't afford to pay you because Rocky wasn't back to work yet.
There were prospects of him going
I
back
don't
to
care
work.
prospects.
Okay.
I had prospects when I was 17 of being 5'4". It never panned out for me.
line claims pet sitter Taylor Fennell is responsible for her dog getting hit by a car.
Now, a massage therapist who has no experience with her dog should not be responsible for 3 dogs over 5 days. First, you see whether or not you're a responsible person. You try you out for a while. I have 2 dogs. I put people who take care of my dogs through the ringer, more than I did for my children, because my children could at least tell me if somebody was doing something wrong to them. Your dogs can't. Your dogs can't tell you. This idiot only showed up once every 2 days to feed me and never took me out. Your dogs can't tell you that, but that's her responsibility. And ultimately, she's going to be responsible because you're not responsible for the accident that happened with her dog. Thank you. You're still an idiot.
Dean's
You're
list.
an idiot.
Dean's list at LMU, I wouldn't call myself an idiot.
You are an idiot.
Your opinion, that's fine.
That's my opinion. That's the only one that counts here. You didn't take good care of your children like a good mother. You left your children with somebody irresponsible. You didn't vet the person that you were leaving your children with.
Right,
You
but
left.
we knew each other.
I don't care whether you knew
over a year.
know each other.
And he was
You
supposed
may
to
know
sleep
Dr.
there.
Kevorkian, and you wouldn't leave him with your sick relative.
And in all honesty, it was my first experience with house sitting, and I called on someone that I
Listen to me
trusted.
very carefully. Then evidently your judgment stinks.
It did.
Then what are you bothering me for?
Well, because I have an injured dog, and
that's your baby, and you didn't take care of your baby. You left your baby with somebody who was an irresponsible baby.
By the way, he was supposed to be sleeping there.
He was an irresponsible baby who you didn't vet.
And his mother was not invited to my house.
And I want to tell you something. I want to say something. I don't care about his mother. He's an irresponsible baby.
His mother told the vet to euthanize my dog.
Listen to me.
That's completely untrue.
No,
This is what the vet told me.
Listen to me.
She was there.
Hey,
That's
your case is
ridiculous.
dismissed because you can't shut up.
Sorry.
I was going to allow you to speak, but you can't interrupt me, and you can't tell me what the vet told you, because that's hearsay, and this case has really nothing to do with his mother, only so that I could get some information from him, so I was satisfied that her kid is full of baloney.
Right.
Still doesn't alter the fact that he's not responsible for your children's medical bills. You are. Unless you can establish to my satisfaction that he did something purposefully to the dog, which you can't because you don't know how it happened.
I don't.
He says he opened the dog ran out, and the dog got hit by a car.
But we don't know.
I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care. The only injured person here is your dog, and your dog was injured because you did not vet the care provider good enough, and you allowed someone who was irresponsible to take care of your children.
But he's laughing.
You should have seen that before. That's your business.
I did not see this side of him, honestly.
Well, what do you want from me? What do you want from the courts? If you didn't see that side of him, if you didn't see that he's an idiot, and if you didn't see that he's irresponsible, and if you didn't vet him sufficiently and say to him, I'm going to pay you $100 a day, but you're going to come over to my house for a couple of afternoons, and I'm going to see how you take care of the dogs and how you interact with them, and we're going to go over a routine, and I'm going to give you a written schedule, and you're going to sign that schedule. This is when you're going to be there. This is when you're going to leave. This is when you're going to take them out. This is when you're going to feed them. And unless you choose to take care of, show me the paper.
No, we didn't sign anything, but
Goodbye,
that's
Miss Lang. Take care of your own babies.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think Taylor is an idiot, and he's a liar.
Her dog got hurt, and she's trying to blame me for her dog's injuries, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
The vet said that she would not re-release the dog back to Taylor and his mother because they were totally unempathetic.
We were horrified.
I feel sick to my stomach.
It was really a scary experience for us, actually.
I really am nauseous.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Anderson versus Manson. Step forward, please.
Erin Anderson is suing her former friend, Samantha Manson, for loans to pay her bills and for a trip to Las Vegas.
Miss Anderson, you and the defendant were good friends, according to what I read in the complaint and the answer. And about 2 years ago, you claim you made a loan to her.
Yes.
The amount of $2,000.
Correct.
And you claim a subsequent loan within the last year or so. Miss Manson says that you were a generous friend, both were gifts, and you had a falling out over some nonsense, but she doesn't owe you any money.
Correct.
So I have some questions.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There are certain truisms that you try to teach to your own children.
Right.
And one of them is, if you lend a friend money, you lose your money and you lose your friend.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Erin Anderson says former friend Samantha Manson owes for 2 separate loans.
Now, tell me the circumstances surrounding this first loan. First, when was it?
It was October 20th, 2008.
Did you give her money by check or cash?
Check, and I have a copy of the check as well.
I'd like to see it.
Sure. It was for unpaid bills that she was very behind on.
How did you know that?
She told me. She
Where
asked
was
me
she
for the
when
money.
she told you that?
We were at her house.
And she said what? And you said what?
She said that I'm very behind on my bills. My landlord keeps calling, and I need money to pay my bills. She was behind on her electric, water, gas, everything for her shop. She was behind on.
What kind of shop?
She owns a salon.
Hair salon?
Uh-huh.
What kind of work were you doing in October of 2008?
I was a medical assistant.
Who were you living with?
My husband.
Have
and my
children?
daughter. Yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She's almost 11.
And both you and your husband work?
Yes.
And you have a hair salon?
I do.
And who do you live with?
My husband.
And what does he do?
He is working now. Not at this time. He was not.
In 2008, he was not?
No.
October. What kind of work does he do?
Mill work.
When was the last time he worked in 2008?
Maybe January.
So at that point, you were supporting the family on your income from the salon?
Yes.
But now he's working?
Yes.
So now you have 2 incomes?
We do.
When did he go back to work?
He went back to work last February.
Tell me how it came about that she gave you the money in October of 2008.
I had asked her to come over and help me do a budget. At that time, my husband was not working. I was the only income, and I wasn't doing very well. She, however, is really good with money. So I asked her to please help me figure out a way to get everything paid but still be able to live. Okay, cool. We were best friends. So she came over. We talked about it. We had a great afternoon. She said to me, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you some money. And I said, Erin, that is not why I asked you over here. I can't take it because
That's
you
not
know.
True, Your Honor.
Shh. We'll get back to you. Go ahead.
Because you know I cannot pay you back. Obviously, looking at my budget, there was no
Well, you
way.
certainly couldn't pay her back then, Miss Manson.
Right.
But I assumed that you had hopes of your husband starting to work.
Absolutely.
So that you would once again be in a position to take care of your bills, take care of your responsibilities, and somehow start to pay her back money that she gave you when you needed it, when you were in a pinch.
Right.
Right. That's what friends do.
Right.
They help you out if you're in a pinch, but with the expectation that when you're not in a pinch anymore, you pay back the money. Go ahead.
I did her hair for free and her daughter's for 3.5 years. I didn't charge her.
She did not for 3.5 years.
Starting when?
The
I mean,
time
you tell me you were best friends. So
Yeah.
best friends would ordinarily take care of each other's hair. But starting when did you start to take care of her hair and her daughter's hair free?
Thursday, September of 2008 is when I started documenting.
September of 2008
is when I
is when you started to document it. Well, that's interesting because that would have meant that you anticipated this gift a month before you got the money. Do you understand what I mean?
I do.
Good. Now, did she ever give you back any money?
She never gave me any money.
When did she tell you she would start paying you back?
In the beginning of 2009, she would start making $200 a month payments. And I said that was fine because Christmas was coming up. That was fine with me.
What happened in the beginning of 2009?
Nothing.
Did you discuss it with her?
Yes, over and over. We discussed it with her and her husband as well.
And what was her response?
That she would start paying, but that Rocky hadn't gone back to work yet, so maybe next month. And so we were friends, so I was like, that's fine.
Now that I understand. What I don't understand is this then second alleged loan.
Right.
Because the second alleged loan was for a trip to Vegas.
Yes.
Well, that's going to be a little more troublesome for me.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, when was the trip to Vegas?
The trip to Vegas wasn't until September, but we booked it at the beginning
of
2009. But we booked it at the beginning of the year.
When in the beginning of the year did you book it?
The third month.
Well, the third month would be March.
Correct.
And she hadn't paid you in January.
No.
And she hadn't paid you in February.
Correct.
And you would have had discussions ongoing with her.
Correct.
That she couldn't afford to pay you because, what's your husband's name?
Rocky.
Rocky wasn't back to work yet.
There were prospects of him going back
I don't
to
care
work.
prospects.
Okay.
I had prospects when I was 17 of being 5'4". It never panned out for me. So January and February, you did not get any money, and then you all decided to take a vacation.
Correct.
And you fronted the money for the vacation.
Correct.
Well, that was bad judgment on your part.
Correct. Very.
Because there are certain truisms that you try to teach to your own children.
Right.
And one of them is don't throw good money after bad.
I know.
And the second thing that you learn over the years is if you lend a friend money, you lose your money and you lose your friend.
Right.
You owe her the $2,000. You don't owe her for the vacation because I don't believe that she had a legitimate expectation of being paid back for the vacation because you hadn't paid her the original $2,000. So you have to give her back the $2,000. And now that Rocky is working, it should be easy for you. Judge for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 46 on the calendar in the matter of Elmo versus Simpson Roja. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
What's your first name?
Destiny?
You're her father?
Yes, ma'am.
Name?
Sierra Simpson.
You're her mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Destiny, it is your claim that this young lady and others assaulted you, and that was over a boy.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the defendant says that you assaulted her first. Who was this?
That's my brother.
He was present.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start with you. What's the name of the boy?
David.
You were dating David?
I was pregnant with his baby.
How old are you?
16.
That's great. How do you support yourself?
I work.
Full time?
No, I go to school.
So what were you doing having a baby?
It was a mistake.
And what did David do for a living?
Nothing.
What'd you have to say about that when your daughter told you she was pregnant?
No, I just dealt with it. Not much I could say. Took her to see Dave, told him about it, and went from there.
And then what happened, Miss Rozier?
There's been nothing done about it. He has not contacted her, no paternity, nothing.
Well, what about her?
She stays at home, she works, and she's finishing school, and she takes care of the baby.
Were there other possibilities as potential fathers?
There is one more.
Has he had a paternity test?
They're in the process of doing that.
But not with Dave?
We've tried to get Dave to do a paternity, and he won't return calls.
All you have to do is go to court. How old is he?
19, I believe.
So as far as you know, it could have been either one of these two people. And how old is your baby?
2 months.
When did this incident happen, Miss Elmore?
August 15th, 2009.
Tell me what happened.
I was receiving threatening phone calls for an amount of days.
From whom?
Sierra and a couple of her friends.
What were you calling her for?
I was calling to get a hold of Dave because when I was pregnant, my sack that the baby was in had a hole in it. And I had to get a hold of him to tell him what was wrong with the baby. And she told me he wanted nothing to do with me or the baby and that she was going to kill me.
Why didn't you call David his house?
He didn't live at his house, and he only had a cell phone, which she had. And she told me she was going to kill me and my baby.
Just a second. You called her?
I called Dave's cell phone. She was answering it.
Well, then evidently he was at her house.
Yeah.
Now, Dave isn't a physician, is he?
No.
So he couldn't help you with anything with regard to what was physically wrong with this baby?
No, I just wanted to let him know.
Great. Okay, so you were receiving phone calls from her for a while?
Yes, because David got his cell phone number changed because she wouldn't stop calling him. And when he did, she didn't have it anymore, so she had my cell phone number and she started to call my cell phone. I actually have audio.
You have a recording of her calling you?
Yes.
I'd like to hear it. I'll take it up here. It's easier for me to hear it up here.
Your Honor, this is her threatening to come kill her.
And so I'm not even playing. If you do not tell me what my baby's father is, I'm going to kill you. I'm not playing because Dave is my baby's father, and you should have called me when you got out of here. I'm not your.
What did you go over there for?
To find Dave to talk to him about my baby.
Who did you go with?
My sister and my friend.
Why didn't you go with your mother?
We weren't talking at the time.
Why?
I was living with my sister.
How old is your sister?
27.
Where is she today?
At home.
What does she do?
She's a stay-at-home mom.
How many children does she have?
2.
How old are they?
3 and 4.
Who else lives in her house?
Her fiance, but he's in the Army.
Her fiance? Is he the father of these 2 children?
Yes, he is.
What happened when they got there, Miss Elmore?
My brother went outside because Sierra was the only one that came up onto my driveway.
Your complaint says that somebody called first. Who called first?
His name is Kevin.
Who's Kevin?
My friend's boyfriend.
What's your friend's name?
Karina.
So you weren't just there with your sister. You came with a boy.
Couple boys, Your Honor.
And what does this boy Kevin do?
I walked up to the door.
What does he do?
I don't think he has a job.
So he does nothing?
No.
How tall is he?
I do not know.
Well, is he as tall as this gentleman?
Yes.
So he's a big boy?
Yes, ma'am.
So you had Kevin call, and then you went over with a couple of your friends, including Kevin?
I didn't know Kevin called.
So you just went there?
Yes.
Go.
I picked up Kevin and Karina and Junior.
What'd you pick up Kevin for?
Because they were coming back to my house to help me babysit, because I had 4 kids and I was pregnant.
Well, if they were helping you babysit, that means you had something to do in the afternoon. What'd you go over to her house for?
To find Dave before I went to babysit.
Why?
Because I wanted to get paternity.
You hadn't had a baby yet?
They can take a needle and stick it through your stomach and get it out that way.
Why would you do that?
So I could tell who was the father.
So you went over to her house and what?
I started walking up her driveway, and that is when her brother came out and he pushed me. And that is
Her brother pushed you. He didn't push you before he said something. What did he say?
He said, get off my property.
Get off your property. And what did you do?
I stood there, and then he came up and he pushed.
Just a minute. So at this point, you're trespassing.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that you're trespassing?
Yes,
ma'am. Do you understand that she's trespassing?
Yes, ma'am.
This point, the person who lives in the house told you to get off the property because you've already threatened to kill his sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Not because of anything she did, but because of something allegedly that David did. David's allowed to dump you for somebody else.
He didn't dump her. He was seen.
He's allowed to dump you for somebody else. And you're 16 years old. He's allowed to have a lot of girlfriends. And you're supposed to take care so that you don't come pregnant. So you were trespassing and her brother pushed you. And then what happened?
And then that's when Kevin and Jean got out the car and started fighting him, and Destiny came out and we started going back and forth, and then we started fighting. And then my sister and Karina got out the car, and then her other friend came out the house.
And?
And we all started fighting, and then we left, and then the cops pulled us over.
And what happened when the cops pulled you over?
They asked us all what happened and found out who hit her brother in the eye, and then they gave us all tickets to appear in court.
And what happened to your ticket?
I got harassment in the second.
So you pled guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we have a video of the fight. We taped it.
Oh, I'd like to see it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When the homeowner said to you, get off my property, you should have turned around and left. You have not.
Elmore says 16-year-old Sierra Simpson came to her home and assaulted her.
Okay.
Yeah, they started videotaping it after her brother came out.
I don't care whether her brother pushed you or not. You were trespassing, and you came there to hurt her. No question in my mind you came there to hurt her. For no reason.
She went there to talk to Dave.
Dave wasn't there.
Yes, he was.
Just a second.
Hold on.
If you look, she hit me first. In the left-hand corner.
Play it back.
That's where she hits her. Bam.
Oh, there you go. No, you hit her first. And you weren't there looking for Dave. Why are you arguing with her if you're there looking for Dave?
Because I asked for Dave, and she kept telling me to get off of her property and yelling at me, telling me she was
said
going
get off her property, and
baby.
that's where you should have gone. Off her property. And if you were legitimately concerned about your baby instead of the boyfriend, then you wouldn't have gone there in the first place with friends. That's why we shouldn't allow 16-year-olds to have babies. Because if you were legitimately concerned about the health and welfare of your baby, where there was a hole in the sac and you had to take a paternity test, if you were legitimately concerned, you would have stayed home in your sister's house and babysat for the 4 children and not put yourself in a position with your 2 friends to have a fight. And when the homeowner said to you, get off my property because you were looking for trouble, you should have turned around and left. It's just because you're not playing with a full deck. Who are you living with now?
My mother and father.
When did you go home to their house?
When I was about 8 months pregnant.
Why?
Because I needed the help, and
right.
I couldn't do it on my own.
Correct. Have any medical records?
Yes, ma'am.
Outrageous.
Would you also like the police report?
I would. What do you want to show me?
No, we've got the police report.
In the police report, she started to write out, and she put, Sierra came to my house to talk to me. Scribbled it out and put, to fight me.
You did come to the house to fight her. That's why you brought Kevin. And you weren't thinking about your child's welfare. You were annoyed that he wouldn't take your calls anymore. He didn't want to be bothered. He probably knew that there maybe was somebody else that could have been the father of this child, and he wasn't going to get snookered.
Actually, he was talking to me at the same time because after he tried to get back with me.
Great. Then what did you go to her house for?
No, this was after the fact.
I'm talking about then. What did you go to her house for?
Because she had his phone and she was answering it, and I needed to talk to him.
Did he change his number?
No.
Are you telling me that he never changed his phone number?
Not when I was calling him, because I was still calling his phone.
Did he change his phone number?
Maybe after the fact.
Do me a favor. You make sure she takes the pill in front of you every morning.
They went to court on this already also, too. We have court papers. She was charged with harassment in the second, and the rest were dropped.
I want to tell you something. That in and of itself is sufficient for me to find in plaintiff's favor that she pled guilty to being the aggressor. Do you understand that? That's a matter of law. Pay attention to me. As a matter of law, she pled guilty beyond a reasonable doubt to being the aggressor and the instigator on August 15th. Whether it was to assault or harassment or trespass, she pled guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
That she went there for the purpose of harassing her. That's what she pled guilty to, beyond a reasonable doubt. So whatever baloney she gives me today, that she was going there to talk to Dave, is baloney, because that's not what she swore to the judge. She did. She swore to the judge that she went there for the purpose of harassing her. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I don't think your daughter understands that.
I believe she understands it, but that's not how it was turning out at the beginning. Destiny called her, knew she was coming over there.
There's something wrong with you, too. If you're making excuses for
I'm not making excuses.
then don't make excuses for her.
I was on the phone with the officer.
Don't make excuses for her. She went there looking for no good. This young lady didn't go to her house. She was the one who had been making all the telephone calls to somebody who clearly didn't want to speak to her.
Your Honor, on my daughter's phone messages, she calls her right before she comes over to the house and tells her, if you don't come meet me at KFC.
Listen to me. Do you have that message? Just listen to me. The answer is either yes or no.
I don't have it.
Does anyone have it?
Yes, Your Honor. It's from somebody else, though. It's from...
Well, then I can't take it from somebody else.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
The apartment was a total mess. I just want you to take a look at how pigs live.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Destiny Elmore says 16-year-old Sierra Simpson came to her home and assaulted her.
Do you have any outstanding medical bills?
Just the one I gave you. I highlighted it.
Okay, so the account balance was $225. I am, Miss Elmore, giving you 10 times what your actual damages were, because I believe that you are entitled to that, for the pain and suffering as a result of this incident. You made a big mistake. Don't make a second one. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,225. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel that she's a drama queen, and she doesn't deserve what she got.
After she hit me, there was 4 girls that are coming out at me, trying to hurt me as well.
She went for my sister, started blaming her, going off on her as it was her fault.
It was ridiculous for her to come to our house like that with more than 5 people.
It happened. It's done. She's got to get on with her life now.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Johns versus Carlock Fosdick. Step forward.
Bradley Johns is suing his former tenants, Crystal Carlock and Ryan Fosdick, for leaving his duplex a mess when they moved out.
Mr. Johns, the defendants were tenants of yours in what I gather is a duplex apartment?
Yes, upper and lower.
And it is your claim that they moved out. They moved out with your permission?
Yes.
Prior to the expiration of their lease, and they owe you money for rent and for damage that they caused to the apartment.
Correct.
The defendants say that they left the apartment in the same condition as they found it when they moved in, and that you actually owe them money because who fell? And your last name is?
Carlock.
Miss Carlock fell on steps in snow and ice, and she hurt herself. When did you move in, Miss Carlock?
We moved in December 16th of 2009.
Keep your voice up, please. 12/16?
Yes.
That's not true, Your Honor.
When did they move in?
I let them move in early on the 14th. They moved stuff in. If they started living there on the 16th, that's unbeknownst to me.
It doesn't actually make any difference whether they moved stuff in on the 14th or the 16th. I mean, you're not wasting my time for 2 days, are you, Mr. Johns?
No,
I don't want to hear that you're wasting my time for 2 days.
I'd like to present this, Your Honor.
I want you just to answer my questions.
Okay. No, I don't. I never want to waste your time.
I want you just to answer my questions.
Yes.
When did you fall?
December 20th.
Did you report it to anyone?
Yes, I went to the hospital.
Did you report it to Mr. Johns?
I called him 3 days afterwards.
And said?
And told him that I had fallen down the steps, and he said that he couldn't do anything about it, that I'd have to cover the medical bill because snow removal was in our lease. But actually, it had not been originally in the lease. It had been added, and only his...
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Mr. Johns, don't irritate me, sir.
Sorry.
Did you file a claim against Mr. Johns in December?
No, I did not.
Did it snow again in December?
Yes.
Did it snow in January?
Yes.
Who shoveled the steps?
We ended up doing it.
Perfect. That's what you should have done before. So I've just taken care of your counter. Put your hand down. Just taking care of your counterclaim. Now I want to see pictures of the apartment, if either one of you have them, when they moved in. Pictures of the apartment. That's more than pictures of the apartment, Mr. Johns.
These are prior pictures. That's the condition they looked at when they agreed to live there.
Okay. Now, what damage do you claim they did to the apartment?
They trashed the place.
Well, I'd like to see it, please.
There's big copies and small copies, Your Honor.
I'd like to see them.
They left 22 bags of huge garbage scattered throughout the place. They lived there for 60 days. The downstairs tenant claims they never took the garbage out.
Don't tell me what anybody claimed.
When they moved out, they left. Sorry.
What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I said, what's wrong with you? How can you live like this?
We actually have a police report that shows that we didn't live like that.
I want to see the police report. I mean, if he staged this, then he's a bigger idiot than I thought.
He must have, because we have a police report.
Another lie,
I want to see the police report. On what date did you move out?
February 21st of 2010.
Apartment was a total mess and not cleaned. That's what it says. I mean, you want me to read just what you highlighted? Which says there was no damage that would be considered above and beyond normal wear and tear. The apartment was a total mess and not cleaned.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, this is what the police saw. They're not talking about damage to the apartment. The walls weren't damaged. I just want you to take a look at how pigs live. Pigs. That's what the police said. Look at the pictures. Put your hand down and look at the pictures. That's what the police saw. Was full of trash and garbage. How do you live like that? How do you live like that?
We didn't have trash removal. He told us it was included, but we were never...
Okay.
I'm going to dismiss everything about your case. Everything. How do people live like this?
Your Honor.
I don't care if you take the garbage and walk it to a local dump. How do you live like pigs?
There were many times we did take it to somewhere to get rid of
Your
a lot of it.
counterclaim's dismissed. Your claim is granted. You're not supposed to have to clean up after pigs. You're suing for $1,700? You deserve $1,700 for having to walk in and smell this. You want to act like a grown-up and live in an apartment and live on somebody else's property? Don't behave like pigs. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Yes, case number 17 on the calendar in the matter of Smith versus Hall.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
How old are you, Mr. Smith?
26, ma'am.
And you're 18?
Yes.
She was your girlfriend? She
Yes, ma'am.
became your girlfriend when she was 17. You're no longer involved. You claim she owes you the balance of a loan that she made for a car. You borrowed the money from your grandmother in order to give to her. You've since paid your grandmother back. She's paid back $400 of how much was the loan?
It was a total of $1,500.
And you paid back?
$400.
So how much do you owe?
$1,100.
Isn't that easy?
Yes.
Perfect. Is there any reason why you think you do not owe that money?
The reason is I spoke with his grandmother 3 weeks ago, and we still have an agreement that I'm going to pay her back. I have every intention on paying her back.
So you acknowledge that this is a loan?
Yes.
No, because that's not what you said in your answer. What else do you think she owes you for now that you're no longer a couple?
Okay, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Listen, we're way past hello.
Okay, I understand. We moved in together. The relationship was really good. We moved in 4/10.
We're past hello.
Okay.
What else do you think she owes you for?
$1,000 in back rent, ma'am.
Now I'll ask you questions.
Okay.
How much is the rent on the apartment where the two of you were living?
It was a house. It was $1,100 a month.
And how old was she when you moved in with her?
She was 17.
So she can't make a contract with you to pay rent.
I have her on the lease as
I don't
an
care
extra
whether you
source
have
of
her on
income.
the lease as your mother, your grandmother, your favorite aunt, or anybody else. She cannot make a contract when she's 17.
Okay, I understood. I have her name written down on here when she was 17, saying she was an occupant in the house, that she was
an occupant.
Extra source of income to the house, the agreement.
That's all wonderful.
Okay.
She can't make a contract when she's 17. She cannot enter into a binding contract when she's 17 years old.
I have her signature on here and everything stating.
As an occupant.
As an occupant, yes.
Got it?
किधर जा रहे हो नाटी जाए तो गाय का पुकारो और किस तरह से खाना पीते हैं टोकन ले रखा है या रात निकलना है ना नाटी जीते हैं मैं कर रही क्या लपा तो वजह से रहा तो खपता है तो क्या लाल तो पता है ना तो क्या लाल नहीं ये हिंद पूरे काले मादी आने जीते हैं कोई मादी होने साथ है नारे तो नारे चले नहीं नारे मोबाइल पे लगी हो तो मादी नरे नहीं वाली मतलब कल भी थे आना सी गल फल नहीं की जरा ये लगे या विवाद घटा है कल को नहीं गल हुई तो छोड़ पाई दाने